Yo, what's going on, everybody? Pen tester, congratulations, you are first. Yeah, Versified, for whatever reason, I was just in a coma all day long, and I just slept all fucking day. That was like 20 hours of fucking sleep. I don't know why. Maybe my body just needed it. Who knows? But I was just sleeping all fucking day long, dude. Wukong today? Nope. I ain't never playing that game again. I tried it. Sucks ass, and I refunded it.
You take someone like me, for example, when I show you the comparisons, you guys are going to laugh. Because if you run my fat-free mass index, I'm holding a bit of water, obviously, but I stepped off the scale this morning at 232 pounds. I am 5'9". If you plug me in at 25% body fat, which everyone always calls me obese, so, let's say 25%. My fat-free mass index is up around 26. The individuals I'm going to show you right now are at about 25.1. Now I'm going to show you guys side by side two bodybuilders, competitive bodybuilders from different eras, who are both 6 foot tall and 200 pounds. So if you put them in at about 6% body fat, that comes to 25.
Oh, Jesus. Andrew Wilson's debating infrared.
This guy made a song called Fuck Around and Find Out, featuring Bradley Martin.
That was pretty good. Thanks for the donation, Killing Titan.
Population not happening. In fact, it's going the other way.
Well, okay, I think there's two different arguments. I'm not necessarily saying that growing wealth will inevitably, under all circumstances, expand the population. I'm just saying it's
because materialism is not the
Hold
goal,
on,
right?
that's not. I'm saying it's a necessary prerequisite for it to be possible, though.
I'm saying that
if you don't have,
so I think that the people being born itself,
people need to eat. They need to eat,
but
they
necessarily additional labor is going to create additional food. That's what the population bomb was all about. The population bomb had the same ideology that you do. Oh, hey, there's too many fucking people, too many mouths to feed.
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. I don't know. Listen. I'm actually saying we should have more people on Earth. Okay.
Yeah.
My point, though, is that in order to have more people, you need to be able to support them through developing the productive forces.
Yeah, but just having more people is going to necessarily do that. It necessarily adds to labor.
Even if that's, well, even if we, I don't know if that's exactly true. I think the increasing the method, because it's not just labor, because there's finite resources, but when you increase the methods of production with the same amount of resources, you can actually yield more.
That's going to require labor.
Yeah, but labor alone...
like, this whole discussion's retarded. Life expectancy in communist countries increased by nearly 20 years after the fall of communism.
The rate of population growth for thousands
it was
and
a
thousands
complete
of years, right?
failure.
Thousands and thousands of years, right? So if it's...
in some areas, yeah.
Okay, and then in the last 200 years, it's like, wow, it's like all the way going up.
The last 200 years, it's gone the opposite. So from the year 1800 to right now, I can pull up a graph right now and show you. Okay. It's literally done this. The birth rates have dropped and dove out like nothing you can even imagine.
The population has decreased significantly in the last 200 years?
It's going to. So you're going to see the zenith of this.
But I'm not talking about what it's going to. I'm talking about what has happened as a consequence of the Industrial Revolution.
The birth rates in the West have sunk like this, even though they're producing the most material wealth.
It's not just the West. China is also going to have a massive... the population of China is going to be cut in half in the next, couple decades.
Damn it, VG. Why do you have to start your stream so late when I have to sleep for work in the morning?
It happens, alright? I'm sorry. Shit just happens. Thanks for the donation, though, Green Knight. Enrique Rodriguez, donate tellers. Have you seen this before? Let me see.
I've seen the quality of men generally who are vegans, and they suck. Like, they suck. How the hell do you stand it? Like, the pool is so small for vegan men, and they're such little dorky nerds. I'm like, I don't know how anybody stands them.
I got my ex.
I never in a million years thought Greg Doucette would call out Kurt Siget in a nutshell of all channels. What are your thoughts? I'm kind of on Greg's side on this one.
I saw the video he just uploaded. I didn't realize he was reacting to Kyrgyzat. Kyrgyzat is a piece of shit, dumb fuck channel. They probably use AI to make their scripts. Half of the shit they say is just complete and utter fucking retard nonsense. They're just like a dumbass top 10 channel. That's all they are. They just quickly Google shit or ask Chat GPT, and then they run a script based on that, and they say complete fucking retard dumb fuck shit. So I was skipping through Greg's video, and Greg is mostly right. We can actually react to it later, though. Thanks for the donation, Killing Titan.
Like you vegan.
Said, I know a vegan bodybuilder.
Yes.
Yeah, listen, I do too. I know a vegan bodybuilder. His name is Vegan Gains. I've debated with him multiple times. He's a decent enough guy. I like him personally, but he's an exception to the rule. There's very few.
Oh, that's funny. Getting an endorsement from Andrew Wilson.
Vegan bodybuilders, and there's very few vegans who don't look like they're pasty and are about to fall over dead. There's just not that many.
I got my ex to go vegan, and he's like he's a big dude, and he
stayed even after
they broke up. I feel like he got bigger after he went vegan.
He is sort of right. There's very few, like, I don't know, masculine vegan dudes. A lot of them are just kind of either normies or a little bit more on the feminine side.
0.1 fat-free mass index, and here they are side by side. All right, the one on the left, you guys know, that's Serge Nubret, very, very famous bodybuilder, and then the one on the right is a natty pro who has the exact same stats. So they have essentially the same amount of muscle mass, same competitive stats. But you look at Serge versus the other, hell, look at Serge versus me.
Dodo donate $2. Watch for 3 to 4 minutes. Very enlightening. Biden will go down as one of the greatest presidents.
I may be resigning from the Senate today, but I will always be a Senate man.
I didn't want to be vice president. Barack asked me, and I told him no, I didn't want to do it. But he said, well, go home and talk it over with your family. My mother said, let me get this straight. First black man has a chance to be president of the United States, says he needs you, and you said no.
To Joe Biden, you were the first decision I made as a nominee, and it was the best.
I think I was able to fill a couple gaps, particularly my ability to deal with the Congress.
How are you?
And maybe my background in foreign policy. So it was a good partnership.
Which you like better, these or these?
Joe, they're the same. One last chance to talk about our bromance. This is an extraordinary man with an extraordinary career in public service.
Did you see Savar uploaded a vid roasting you? I have no idea who the fuck Savar is.
I am pleased to award our nation's highest civilian honor, the Presidential Medal of Freedom, with distinction, to my brother, Joseph Robinette Biden, Jr.
After Joe was vice president, we thought our public service was finished.
When we lost him, my son, Bo, I didn't want any part of running for anything. But and those folks came out of the woods at Charlottesville. I knew what Bo wanted me to do. Folks, the people of this nation have spoken. So help me God.
Congratulations, Mr. President.
When we came into office, we immediately got to work.
Our work began with getting COVID under control.
We passed the American Rescue Plan.
We gave Medicare the power to negotiate lower prices on prescription drugs.
It's now law.
We got it done. A once-in-a-generation investment in infrastructure. The largest jobs plan since World War II. Thank you. Leading the fight to protect women's reproductive health. I signed the most significant gun safety law in nearly 30 years. Saved a lot of lives.
Did not save any lives.
The country's biggest
gun safety.
Hey VG, let's react to a new video from Somon we have not reacted to in a while.
Back by unpopular demand.
Maybe later. Thanks for the donation, Dodo.
biggest investment in climate ever. We've already cut the federal deficit, reduced the burden of student debt. More jobs. It's now the law.
How do you balance keeping the commitments you made in the campaign and dealing with the incoming fire? There's always something that happens that nobody asks you about in the election.
The Russian military has begun a brutal assault on the people of Ukraine.
President Biden's taken aggressive steps to help Ukraine survive Russia's assault.
I'm very proud of rebuilding Europe and NATO. The United States and I, as president, champion a vision for our world grounded in the values of democracy. If we don't lead the world, who does?
I am so proud to be vice president to President Joe Biden.
We got a lot of good stuff going.
He's been making some of the most difficult decisions of any human being on earth.
Hey guys, good to see you.
But he has an ability to think about how the American people will be affected.
People don't understand how damn hard you work. Hey man, how are you?
He is one of my most favorite people.
I think we got
He has a bold vision. Not only a vision, but a vision realized.
the first black woman to the United States Supreme.
Well, that's all well and good.
Explosion of the population that we have, specifically, in a way that has explanatory value, such that it happened at this moment, not 7,000 years ago, but at this moment.
Because there was technological advancement, sure.
Okay, so industrialization and the development of the productive forces, which is what I said.
Did you sleep well? Is Frankie still quiet?
I did, in fact, sleep well. Perhaps even too well. Let me see. Yep, Frank still hasn't uploaded. It's been nearly 2 weeks. I'm feeling like he's gonna kill himself. Like, there's a good chance. He uploaded this, like, weird video talking about how he got himself addicted to Kratom, and he's, like, super depressed about not being able to see properly, being cross-eyed and everything. Hasn't uploaded in, like, 2 fucking weeks, not even any shorts. Like, he's probably gonna end it all. Thanks for the donation, though, Sam.
I agree.
Yeah, but you didn't agree a few minutes ago. A few minutes ago, you were so worried about the idea of the technological advancement.
Here's the issue. Here's the issue, though. Mm-hmm. You were trying to say that You were saying, okay, so what are ways in which you can measure the development of the productive forces?
Yeah.
And I said one of the ways you can measure it is the expansion of the growth of the population and the material wealth. And then you said, well, hold on, wait a minute. You seem to call into question the relationship between those two things.
Yeah, but
who would you rather marry, Claire Redfield or Ada Wong? Claire Redfield. Ada Wong's too dishonest and manipulative.
Capitalism itself can be self-defeating to humanity. The poorest on planet Earth are those who reproduce the most.
Okay, but this is why we got into this argument, because I'm trying to explain to you that they're poor relative to us today.
Yeah.
But compared to 7,000 years ago, the only reason they're able to survive and live is because we have more wealth than we did 7,000 years ago.
But okay.
We can support. I told you we can support 8 billion people today.
Yeah.
We couldn't do that in 1700.
Okay, prove it.
Why didn't we have 8 billion people in 1700?
That's question.
So you think 8 billion?
No, don't ask me a question.
Yeah.
Give me the proof.
I think the proof that we couldn't support 8 billion people in 1700 because we didn't have the productive forces to produce enough.
Well, we didn't know how to produce nitrogen.
Do you consider a straight guy into trannies to be gay?
No, not necessarily. If anything, I'd probably consider it its own unique sexual preference. Thanks for the donation, though, Speed Racer. Yeah, the thing that allowed the population to really explode was use of petroleum, for one thing, but also being able to create nitrogen-enriched fertilizer. We didn't have that technology until the early 1900s.
For people to survive. You're saying
That's
the
completely speculative.
Andrew, you're saying, you tried to say earlier that the fundamental factor is actually just more labor. And that's why I roped in and asked. Yeah, more people. Yeah. But we've had the capacity to grow the supply of people for a very long time. It's only when we added the factor of industrial modernization that seemed to compound in the explosive population growth that we've seen in the past few hundred years.
Yeah, but correlation is not causation. And this is why you would need to demonstrate that in the year 1700, we could not have supported 8 billion people. What about...
We couldn't have. There would have been no possible way to make enough food until we had the technology to make nitrogen-enriched fertilizer.
The technology could not have supported 8 billion people.
You don't think like medicine was important or anything? Like preventing disease and death?
I think that when I look back in history,
pandemics,
after you got out of, I think it was about 3, you lived about as long as you do now.
Okay, so the medicine wasn't a decisive factor to support more people?
That is not true. Life expectancy past infancy, I think, is increased by like 15 years.
Agricultural methods that allowed us to have with the same amount of land.
None of this is a demonstration, though, that in the year 1700 there couldn't have been 8 billion people who lived comfortably on planet Earth.
Do you think? Where is the proof that you have?
No, it's not my assertion.
Yeah, so Andrew's completely wrong here. Totally wrong.
Is it gay to suck tranny cock?
Maybe. I don't know. I guess it depends on what you want to suck tranny cock. Thanks for the donation, Big Fag. Forgot my namification, donated $2. Thought you died, glad you didn't. Ada Wong would be better in bed. I don't know. I really don't know. Like, when I look at Ada Wong, she looks like the kind of girl who just wouldn't suck dick, but she'd, like, you know, do everything else. I don't know. She seems like a bit more of a dom, too. I'm not really into, like, I'm not really into women who want to be dominant in bed, so I don't know. Thanks for the donation, though. I forgot my namification. Dodo donate $2. Blaha and Mike Israel should do an ASMR collab where they just do that bullet pressing thing and talk to the camera. Palestinians in Saudi Arabia harassing Saudi peace negotiator. Yeah, of course.
مطبع يا رخيص يا زباله روح طبع مع ال سعود تبعونا هاي وجهه المقرن يا زباله يا رخيص يا نزل هي وجه الهلس رخيص روح طبع مع ال سمعت لسه المهل العميل ايوه هي اطفال فلسطين كلهم بتف عليك يا مقرن خلي ترامب يحلبكوا
It's almost as if they don't want peace, and they just want to keep fighting a war with Israel.
صلي ببيت الكنيسة تبعك، تجيش صلي هون طاهر. هذا زبالة زيه، هذا محل طاهر. هذا مش للزباين. يلا فيك يا زبالة.
I don't even know if this is true. Is this the guy, the peace negotiator? Why doesn't he have like a security detail? This video is a little weird, but it would make sense that they wouldn't like a Saudi peace negotiator because one, they don't want peace. Two, none of these other Arab nations take in any Palestinian refugees or give them any sort of military support, so obviously they wouldn't like that. Thanks for the donation though, Data. YH donated $2. Let me see.
When it comes to mayo, Dukes and Hellmann's are some of the worst options. First, Dukes. Low quality rancid soybean oil as the first ingredient.
Soybean oil is just fine for you.
Natural flavors, EDTA, garbage. Now let's check Hellmann's. Soybean oil, EDTA, natural flavors, the same thing. Ingredients derived from a bioengineered source, that means GMO. As a matter of fact, all of these here are trash. Great news, I got 3 really good options for you. Sir Kensington has avocado oil mayonnaise, made with all clean
exactly what is the difference between avocado oil and soybean oil?
Ingredients.
This guy literally does not understand what a poly and monounsaturated fat is.
Another excellent option is Primal Kitchen mayo, made with avocado oil, with very clean ingredients. Check out their Chipotle lime and buffalo mayo. And finally, we got Chosen Foods, classic mayo made with 100% pure avocado oil, made with very clean ingredients.
These people are actually just legit fucktarded.
You know the orange in Sunkist comes from artificial colors? Okay, everybody
really
knows that this is not good for you, but how bad is
artificial colors are just fine.
Is this for you exactly? First, it says orange soda, but there's absolutely no oranges in here. This is sweetened with high fructose corn syrup. The orange flavor is coming from natural flavors. So they're mixing a bunch of chemicals together to capture the essence of an orange.
Yes, that's how food flavoring works.
Yellow 6, red 40. When you take red and yellow, you create orange. These artificial colors are petroleum-based, usually coming from petrochemicals. That's just
yes, and they're safe to consume.
Disgusting. Even Fanta got the same crap ingredients. Now I know people want...
This person's like legit retarded.
After sitting out all night, now it looks like somebody's shit in my sink that had really bad diet.
About to make a salsa. Look at this. Freaking onion see-through, clear. Look at that. Pull it up. Look at that.
This person thinks onions don't look like this?
What the hell?
Enough videos of people posting rubbery watermelon. I can't believe I got one.
Yes, that's what happens when watermelon is frozen and unfrozen. Sometimes you just get watermelon that aren't that great.
A rubbery watermelon. The texture is so weird. Like,
Mother was showing me that she opened the banana, that she thinks that these are not real bananas. We got it from the supermarket, But when she opens it and she breaks it in half, it gets very tough and doesn't really break. And if
yeah, it's not ripe. These people are insane. Thanks for the donation, YH.
Would you rather fuck Megan Fox with a dick or Hulk Hogan with a pussy?
Well, obviously Megan Fox. Thanks for the donation, Bigger Fag.
Typical Muslims.
Yes. Thanks for the donation, Dodo. Dodo donated $2. Let me see. Name one thing China gave to the world. Spanish flu, bubonic plague, COVID.
VG, the description is BS lol. The Saudi guy is not a peace negotiator. He is actually for peace with Israel. In that video he was visiting Jerusalem and trying to pray in the Aqsa Mosque, and this is how Palestinians reacted, knowing he's for peace.
Well, yeah, they don't want peace. They want war with Israel, and they want all these Arab nations to give them weapons and go to war with them. Like, everybody knows that. Except retarded social justice warrior idiots. Thanks for the donation, Mola. Paper. Yeah, I guess gunpowder. Does seem like they were the first ones to produce gunpowder. You know her? Toronto's first Muslim deputy mayor, Hezbollah flagged by her at a rally, wants a regularization program that will provide a pathway to permanent resident
Because
status.
VGSJWS might just find what you said about China Noftons.
I don't care. They can come after me. Thanks for the donation, Dodo. She wants a regularization program that will provide a pathway to permanent resident status for all illegal immigrants. How about no? Because colonizing Canada with illegal immigrants will help dismantle Canada's system, colonialism, and anti-black racism. Sure. Canada has people in government that have zero care for Canada's well-being and sovereign nation. Yeah, that woman's a piece of shit.
As we continue to see anti-immigrant rhetoric on the rise in Canada and around the world, we amplify calls from community leaders and advocates for an immediate, broad, and inclusive regularization program that provides pathways to permanent resident status for all undocumented residents. Together, we will
How about no?
Continue to dismantle systems of colonialism and anti-black racism, and we reflect on the enhanced vulnerability that racialized communities with precarious immigration status experience. Undocumented Residents Day is an opportunity to acknowledge with gratitude the important work taking place to ensure all Torontonians, regardless of their immigration status, can feel safe and are treated with dignity.
These people are just fucked. She's probably a jihadist. You're not gonna believe this. Oh, it's a parrot?
I'll bring out the screamer to you.
Oh my god. Parrots are great. Thanks for the donation, Dodo.
Supreme Leader, all of Canada is now yours thanks to the help of France, Spain and all 330 million Americans. What is a next order of business? Shall we go into Israel next? Also let's make Tommy Robinson a Canadian and American citizen, King Richard.
Yes, let's go to Israel and fight with their military to destroy Hamas. We'll do that next. Thanks for the donation, Benedict Arnold.
Oh, does she mean everything like that Hamas stands for?
Probably. I would have to guess. Thanks for the donation, Dodo.
It is I, your favorite commie Nazi e-hag. So we've been very busy here on the ShoeOnHead program. In the past year, we talked about male loneliness, female loneliness, the male dating strategy. We asked the question on everyone's mind, are women okay? And we even judged male bedrooms. But I regret to inform you, my research into the male and female question is far from over. Today, we will be looking at one of the most classic...
Should upload clips from your streams to your channel on a regular basis so you get more views, subs, revenue. Many big channels do that too. Yeah, I guess I should. Tarded News donated $2. Let me see. Diversity hires people doing a job. Don't know about that exactly. Yeah, I've seen that. Ew, gross, baby.
From Congresswoman Lisa Blunt.
DNC falsely accuses Trump's involvement with Project 2025. He's clearly involved.
Rochester of Delaware about Project 2025 and former President Trump.
He has, with his friends, said the quiet parts out loud, but not only said them out loud, he wrote a book about it. What's it called? Project 2025.
That is false. Trump did not write Project 2025. The project's big policy document published by the Heritage Foundation think tank lists dozens of people as authors, editors, contributors.
He's involved. So the top political donors for the Trump campaign are directly involved with Project 2025, and they're all working to get Trump elected, and he's talked directly with some of the authors. So that's his involvement.
I scream, you scream, you know the rest.
I scream, you scream, you know the rest. I scream, you scream, you know the rest. Well,
Dodo donated $2. I didn't know parrots can live up to 60 years old and are vegan. Do you want one? Well, parrots can live longer than that. I don't want a parrot. They're kind of high maintenance and they're loud. So, I don't think it's the right type of pet for me. Thanks for the donation, though, Dodo.
Annoying gender war debates. Who is more shallow? 11 men being called short. The hottest men and women in the world being called mid. So really shove men and women into boxes. But it's fun and interesting to do. Many men in the study were. Some women gave high attractiveness ratings.
Trump is involved along with fuckwads like Tucker Carlson.
Yep, he is. Thanks for the donation, Dodo.
to the men, other women said were not attractive at all. So men tend to like the same things in women, while women tend to disagree on what is attractive and unattractive. That checks out. When you ask a guy what their wildest hear me out is, it's usually some conventionally attractive woman. Meanwhile, when women say hear me out, it's like Venom or Pyramid Head from Silent Hill. One social experiment was done in France where they had a guy stand next to like 3 different cars. One was like an expensive luxury car, one was like a mid kind of expensive car, and the other one was like a poor people car. A poor people car. I drive a Subaru Forester, okay? It's still got the Bernie sticker. Anyway, the man stood next to the 3 different cars on different days. When he stood next to the poor people car, he only got 7% of numbers from the women passing. When he stood next to the mid-level car, he got 12%. And out of all the women that passed the man when he was standing next to the luxury expensive car, 23% of them gave him their number. These findings indicated that women are inclined to give high-status men more of a chance. Wow. Water is wet. Is water wet? Honestly, the car thing wouldn't work on me. I do not like cars. I hate cars. I hate driving. I like trains. I am spiritually autistic. Men pretend they like cars as a hobby, but I don't buy it. Men don't have hobbies. They do everything for female attention. Yeah, nice hand-painted Warhammer figurines, you fucking slut.
You know, I've seen her say stupid shit like this all the fucking time. She does not understand men at all. Like, cannot grasp male psychology one bit. And for some reason, she makes content catered to men. She said something else that was really stupid too, where she said men like giving women money because they're natural providers, and when men don't have an opportunity to give women money, it makes them depressed. Like, it's just so fucking retarded. She's so stupid. She's one of these women who will get into relationships with dudes and then not, like, just has no interest in any of their fucking hobbies, doesn't understand why they're fucking doing anything, and then she considers herself like an expert in male psychology.
All right, what else does science say? Breaking. Study concludes men are shallow AF. Cool, thanks Cosmo. OkCupid co-founder Christian Rudder used the data he had from OkCupid users and found the bleak and yet somehow unsurprising truth that no matter how old men get, they still find women in their early 20s to be the most attractive. Is that shallow? I mean, I guess it depends. Honestly, I hate age gap discourse so much. If they're both consenting adults, I don't give a f. Oh, Leonardo DiCaprio's dating another 25-year-old? I don't give a shit. The same people freak out about like an 18-year-old dating a 25-year-old are fine with the 18-year-old starting an OnlyFans. Either they're adults or they aren't. At age 40, women start to look for men who are exclusively younger than they are. Wait. So it's fine when the women are going for younger men, but when men go for younger women, that's shallow. Cosmo moment. Oh my god, I just made the terrible mistake of thought about what my type is.
This is kind of too stupid and boring. $9 Heritage Foundation is the group that wrote 2025. That's the plan Trump's speaking of in his address he did to them. He admits it. Why does everyone ignore this?
The critical job of institutions such as Heritage is to lay the groundwork, and Heritage does such an incredible job at that. This is a great group, and they're going to lay the groundwork and detail plans for exactly what our movement will do and what your movement will do when the American people give us a colossal mandate to save America. And that's coming. That's coming.
Well, there you have it, folks. You can add this one to the over 30,000 lies that Trump has said so far. But this one's probably the most dangerous one. November is coming, America.
Yep. All these conservatives are just lying and coping. He's directly involved with Project 2025. Thanks for the donation, though, Dodo.
Culture where if you're talking, you're not just talking, you're standing on something. It's an intent to act.
Well, then you're holding two different standards.
Yeah, I think America's a different country, a different civilization.
So you just think that all morality is going to come from your cultural standard?
I think it has a lot to do with it. Not all of it comes from there.
That's not what I'm asking. I mean, how can you say, it's inappropriate here in America? That would be immoral to curtail the Orthodox Church from speaking out, for instance, against communism. But in China, fucking off with their heads, right, Haas?
You have to understand, Russia was in a civil war. It wasn't just it wasn't peacetime.
I'm talking about China.
What about it?
So I'm asking you, if in China they're like, hey, no, you're not going to speak out against the state, or you're going to go to fucking prison. You don't have an actual objection to that, because in the cultural context, you say it's fine.
But why would the church speak out against the state?
That's not my question.
Good evening, VG. I really and truthfully hope that you are great tonight. So, that CNN host was right that Trump didn't write Project 2025. He's too stupid to read or write lol, but he's in bed with.
Well, yeah.
This project wouldn't exist if we didn't have the Trump administration, where you had a new maverick candidate who didn't have the machinery of the party necessarily like lining up and everybody from previous administrations helping out. And so you had this situation where it became clear that something like this is very necessary.
Yep. Thanks for the donation, Ben.
Attorney and the founder of Democracy Docket, the leading digital news platform dedicated to information, analysis, and opinion about voting rights and elections in the courts. You know, it's such a great time to talk to you, Mark, and also particularly possibly a scary time because we often end up sort of being behind when it comes to ensuring that an election is going to happen the way that it should and that the will of the voters is going to be represented in the results. When I talk to people about what would we expect in 2024, given what Republicans tried in 2020, I hear two ideas.
Anonymous $22, gosh darn nairs.
Oh no, look at this. Nigga, what you want? I want you over my house cutting my grass like you supposed to be.
Well, too bad for you, because I just took another job. And even though they don't pay hardly nothing, working for white folks look way better on my resume.
Damn it, this is the 4th week in a row you cancel on me. The yard looks like a jungle.
Well, Tim Chim, you 3 vine swingers should feel right at home. I'll be there when the white man don't need me no more. And let this be yet another reminder that no matter how much money you got, you still just a nigga.
Yep, that was Boondocks. Thanks, Anonymous.
Yes. One idea is they tried but failed in 2020. We now know what to expect. We have some safeguards. It won't be Mike Pence, but it will be Kamala Harris, at least as far as tallying the electoral votes. It's sort of a more optimistic view. On the other hand, we get, no. They smelled blood in 2020. Yes, they failed, but they have learned from their mistakes, and they have new ideas we now need to be worried about. Are you partial to one side or the other of that?
Yeah, I think I come out closer to the side.
I'm sorry, but Donald J. Trump is going to be president again. MAGA niggers. Kamala Harris is Indian, not black. My shit is darker than her.
He probably isn't. But thanks for the donation, Joe Biden.
Right. I mean, yes, they failed in 2020, but a couple of things I would warn people about. The first is they have upgraded their legal talent. Like, we're litigating, my law firm and I are litigating in, 5 dozen or more cases around the country. And over the course of the last few years have litigated hundreds of cases. And we're not running into the Jenna Ellis's and the Rudy Giuliani's, right? This is not the Kraken crazy lawsuits of Sidney Powell. They have upgraded their lawyers and they have used this time to try to develop new legal theories. Now, those theories, to be clear, are not gaining much purchase. They are still losing. But they have learned something from their mistakes about how to approach both voter suppression and election subversion. The second thing is that Donald Trump has, and this has been a hallmark of his candidacy and his career, he has shifted the Overton window of what is acceptable. So, stuff that would have been seen as out of bounds.
YouTubers that love VG donate $2.
Hello, Mr. Val.
Couldn't give two fucking shits about this chick. There's something wrong with her. I don't know why the fuck she's still talking about me. I have not talked to her, given her the time of day, and she's refused to debate me. So why the fuck is she still talking about me?
Oh, Wally Blue here, coming at you live from the crawfish hole, holding his glass. However, I constantly tune in because I think he's a cool dude. And every time I tune in, he's always...
How are The Simpsons still on the air? Doesn't everyone either watch South Park or Family Guy?
Family Guy hasn't been good for a while. It's like the odd episode that's funny. Simpsons has been consistently bad for some time too. So I don't know. South Park hasn't even been that great for a while either. There have been some good ones recently, but for the most part, they haven't been great. Thanks for the donation, Speed Racer.
Always talking about Nazis this, Nazis that, Nazis this, you're a Nazi, you're a fucking Nazi, you're a Nazi, oh, everyone's a fucking Nazi. And it's tired at this point because he refuses to listen to the actual argument that most vegans are making. Now, I say most because there's some vegans that take it to the extreme and say that we need to be actively killing carnivores at some point in the vegan utopia world. However, a less extreme position would be that it's just wrong for predators to be killing prey species. But he's so stuck, Sky, that is, so stuck in his dogmatism that he just refuses to listen to reason, even from the people around him, even from his friends.
A good vegan to debate is Vegan Gains because he's good at debating to some extent, right?
Let's say there was a drug let's say there was a drug or a virus or something that made you go crazy, and you grew machine guns on your arm, and you go to shopping malls and mow people down. Would it be wrong for somebody to intervene and kill you?
Oh, you're talking again about extemporaneous ideas of if something's going down. If there's a school shooter and we don't need to go so far as in machine gun hands. We have kids in America that shoot kids at schools.
Well, right,
and
we kill them.
And sometimes those kids get shot. Yes, and sometimes the police respond. If the police get around to it, they show up and hopefully intervene.
That debate was pretty retarded.
Look what I came home to. That's the dad closest to me.
Yeah, I've seen his crow video before.
What brought you out here today? No, listen, my name is Noah Shorts. I use he, they pronouns. Like, I'm just really excited that we have, like, the first black woman that could be the president of the United States. And, you know, like, my wife, right? We're in a polyamorous relationship. The lover that my wife took is African American. And, like, I've learned so much about the struggle that people of color go through as a result of my wife's work.
This has to be this has to be a joke.
So I'm excited to really do my part to show solidarity for my marginalized communities. And like the best way to do that is to get the first woman of color to be the commander-in-chief. And I'm really excited.
That has to be a joke. Thanks for the donation, dude. Alawali Blue Vegan Donatillers, please bob your head to this banger.
Hey, what's fucking Bracken, buddy? It's your boy Yellow London on the track. Stop asking, I made the very... I'm a motherfucking nigger. I am a nigger, stop calling me nigga. I am a nigger, stop calling me.
That's not very good. Thanks for the donation, dude.
In the run-up to the 2020 election is now kind of just like expected of him, right? So the notion that they are, for example, suing to make it easier to harass voters and election officials is something that would have been struck people as preposterous even in the run-up to 2020. So they are much more aggressive in their legal tactics. They are much more aggressive in their legal strategies. And then finally, I would add one thing, which is that the system has been under an enormous amount of stress now for years upon years. And you're starting to see that stress take its tolls. You have seen good election officials leave. You have seen more election deniers get into office. And so the internal workings of the election administration process is also starting to show signs of stress.
We've been seeing headlines recently about...
What do you think of subjective continuity? I don't know what that is.
Trump-leaning election officials in a number of different states. We talked about the story out of Georgia, which, if I understand it correctly, and if not, I know that you'll correct me. In Georgia, a normally bureaucratic official who is there not to evaluate anything, but basically to sign off, hey, we've done it, we've counted votes. They now have some potentially discretionary power to say, I don't like what I'm seeing here to some degree. Explain that to us.
Yeah, so I think that, apropos of your first question, this is probably the clearest example of where they have evolved over time in their tactics. So in 2020, there was in one state, in Michigan, where the Republicans tried to get the county canvassing board from Wayne County, which is Detroit, to refuse to sign the certification documents. Now, that's a ministerial act. What do I mean by that? There's no discretion in whether they sign these documents.
Rystar Donatillers, do you ever play these games? No. Never played Rystar. I did play Contra Hardcore. That's a good one. Never played McDonald's Treasure Land Adventure. Never even heard of that one. Yeah, never played that. Did you know there was a McDonald's game on Sega Genesis? I wasn't aware. Thanks for the donation, though, Rystar.
It is a formality. It's part of the pageantry of democracy that, after elections, you get these canvassing boards that come in and sign off on the paperwork, right? And Donald Trump and Ronna McDaniel actually called the local county officials responsible for the certification and tried to get them to refuse to certify. That failed, okay? And we then saw them try at the state level, and that failed, and then obviously at Congress. Well, so what have they now done in the run-up to 2024? They have tried to replace who are on these state canvassing boards with election deniers who will refuse to certify even when they don't have discretion. And in Georgia, they are trying to change the rules so that those election officials actually have more discretion and make this less ministerial. So they are both changing the personnel, they're changing the identity of the scoreboard operators, and also trying to give those people more power. And that is what we're seeing in Georgia. But it's not just in Georgia. In 2022, we saw Cochise County, Arizona, try to refuse to certify the election results. My law firm and I brought litigation and prevented that from happening. We saw it in Pennsylvania and elsewhere. And I expect that is the kind of thing that shows the evolution of the Trump election denier movement.
I mean, I don't know exactly how to ask this, but as someone who's been following that evolution, how worried should we be, and how much of this can we prevent in advance with some kind of strategy versus how much of it is by nature just reacting to whatever they try?
So look, you can always be prepared for everything you can be prepared for, but you can never know what you aren't prepared for, if that makes sense. Or as Donald Rumsfeld once said, there are the known unknowns and the unknown unknowns, right? So look, I think voters should have confidence that there are good election officials, there are lawyers, there are nonprofits, there are political campaigns that are focused on these issues and will ensure that every lawful vote counts and that they are eventually certified. But that doesn't mean that you can prepare for every new tactic. I mean, that the other side is going to come up for. So I want people to be attentive. I want people to be prepared, but I don't want people to be defeatist, because Donald Trump wins when the cynics win. He wants people to lose hope. And there's one thing that Kamala Harris has reinvigorated in the Democratic Party is a sense of joy and hopefulness.
Speaking of Kamala Harris, as I mentioned, it will be Kamala Harris, not Mike Pence, counting the Electoral College votes in January. How relevant and important is that big picture to the strategy that they may try to apply?
Look, I mean, so to be clear, she doesn't count them. She oversees the count.
Oversees, fair, yeah.
Right. And Congress passed something, a new law, the Electoral Count Reform Act, that clarified the limited role of the vice president and made some other changes that make it harder for things to go wrong in Congress. I think that it is obviously better that you have Kamala Harris rather than Mike Pence. I think it is better if we have Speaker Jeffries than if we have Speaker Johnson, and so forth. But I think that the place that people ought to be focusing their attention, and this was my opinion, frankly, in 2020 as well, is at these local levels, right? It is hard for the process to get derailed after the electors have been selected and they voted in the Electoral College. I won't say it's impossible, but it is hard. It is much easier if you are the Republicans trying to be disruptive to do the kinds of things like you see them trying in Georgia, to do the kinds of things like I mentioned they did in Arizona in 2020 at the local county level, because it's just there's so many more counties, right? And you can be more disruptive at that local level. So I'm glad Congress passed the Electoral Count Reform Act, and I am confident that we will have accurate certification in Congress, and I'm confident we'll have it at the state and local level. But I think that the fact that we have a Democratic Secretary of State in Nevada, in Arizona, in Michigan, in Pennsylvania are much more significant than what's going to go on in the halls of Congress.
So I'm hearing you say you have a level of confidence. I've also, it was either read or maybe it was a transcript of an interview or something you wrote where you are predicting that there will be some attempted refusals, at least at the local level. Explain why you both expect the refusals to be attempted, but in a general sense are confident.
Yeah, look, I mean, Donald Trump at a political rally called out 3 of 5 members of the otherwise obscure Georgia State Elections Board. Okay. And
have you watched any David Lynch films? Mulholland Drive, etc. What do you think of his work? Lastly, what are your top 5 movies of all time?
I'm not sure if I have watched any David Lynch films. I've never seen Mulholland Drive. I've heard of Eraserhead. I don't know if I could watch that movie because of the stupid gross baby in it. But top 5 movies of all time. Probably Akira, Ghost in the Shell, Blade Runner 2049, The Thing from the 1980s version. What would be the 5th? Probably be either Terminator 2 or Conan the Barbarian, something like that. Thanks for the donation, though. Hello, sir.
And it's interesting that he called them out. He called them out by name. He said,
"What games did you own for Genesis?" I had a bunch. Had like Mortal Kombat, Mortal Kombat 2, 3. Never got Ultimate Mortal Kombat for Genesis. I had Sonic 2, Sonic 3, and Knuckles, Sonic CD, Contra Hardcore, Street Fighter 2. There are a few others. I had some other like Sega CD games. I had Tomcat Alley, Ground Zero Texas. I think there were a few others.
Love you games.
Oh shit. Let me take a look. Hello, good.
I love that Vegan Gain's response to being called out on anything is immediately calling them a retard and running away like a little BITC, you know what I'm trying to say. Anyways, this is for my buddy Riley the Vegan. I believe his new name is Eternally Vegan, which is badass. That's a really cool name, my guy. This is just a response to, I guess, the two debates that I had with Vegan Gains. The first debate was about him being a hypocrite on the specific subject of him wanting to give animals human rights. He obviously doesn't care much about that because he infringes on other people's human rights like my own. His only defense against me before he ran away like a, you know what I'm trying to call him, was that fuck, I'm sorry, I'm blanking for words. This is my first time on video. I don't do many videos, okay? At least not in person. His only defense was that he's not infringing on my rights because it's not against the law. By definition, law and human rights are two very different things. Granted, a lot of our law...
The fuck is he talking about? Human rights is in regards to the law.
Laws are based on human rights, but they're not the same thing. He was torturing me with said videos about, said drawings when I tried to better myself and have a better understanding of my morals. He drew pictures of me and got his chat to attack me, calling me gay and such, or, you know, having me do lewd things that he shouldn't be putting on any children, which a lot of children are in his chat and YouTube in general. He should really be age restricting his videos if he's going to have such very lewd, disgusting content, because he is, you know, subjugating a lot of children to that. The second debate I just recently had with him tonight, June 30th, he was trying to defend his use of his gas-guzzling motorbike. I personally don't believe in any transportation, but I cannot come up with a decent comeback to the absolute need for transportation in our society. So
Yes, why would you need to travel? You can just die from lack of food and water.
I try to come to terms with that and make my own defense, which is you should be at least driving electric, especially if you have the resources to get said electric car, or, you know, like, obviously Vegan Gains is in that position.
Yes, use an electric vehicle where there's no charging infrastructure and in a country where it gets below negative 40 degrees, so the car won't work.
His only defense was that it doesn't cause any animals to immediately die, even though it puts carcinogens into the air, especially when you drive past an animal. Which is probably why a lot of them die from cancer.
This is just fucked-hearted, dude.
A lot of cancer deaths in animals per year, and we're talking about non-genetically modified animals. But anyways, aside from that, he believes that the only right that matters for animals is that the right to life. I believe that they should share all human rights, not just what I pick and choose. It's either one or the other. And I believe they have the right to not be tortured or harmed. Torture or harm would come from carcinogens in the air, protruded from gas-guzzling vehicles. Said vehicles would cause cancer, and cancer causes harm. I do not understand his reasoning, and then he called me a artard and ran away like a little boy. Anyways, there you go. I have done my part. I'm sorry, eternally vegan, Riley, whatever, you know who I'm addressing here. And I'm sorry for not making this video sooner.
This guy is genuinely retarded. There's a reason why I just don't debate him anymore. And we regularly have a donation goal to ban him.
That they were pit bulls, and that one of the things they would do is help ensure his victory. And that, as I mentioned, he called out only 3 of the 5. So it's not even like he's like the board as a whole is doing well. He was like, these 3 are doing well. And that is because his plan is to make it harder for you to vote and easier for him to cheat after the election. And having these local election boards where there are election deniers have discretion is a way in which he can try to set the stage for his folks to cheat after the election. Now, that's why I think that this is significant. The fact that we saw that in Cochise County, Arizona, we saw that in counties in Pennsylvania in 2022 was instructive. The fact that we beat them in court was instructive on how to fight back. So I think people need to be expecting and be concerned, and I am concerned, don't get me wrong, I worry about everything, that we could see this take place in county after county after county around the country. But ultimately, the fact is these county officials don't have the discretion not to certify. They can't gum up the works. They can't undermine free and fair elections lawfully. And so you will have lawyers like me and others turning to the courts and insisting that the courts step in where the political branches failed. And I have every confidence that, as we saw in 2020, the courts will hold.
Let's say the courts hold eventually, but what they succeed at is creating delays of different kinds. And you could tell us what categories of delays are even possible. But let's imagine that they're able to introduce a delay during something that's supposed to take 2 weeks and it stretches. What could the effect of that be?
Yeah, so there was a lot of talk about this in 2020. And I think it's a really good question to, again, give people a refresher for 2024. So different elections have different timetables for when things must happen. So very, somewhat famously, I represented Al Franken in a Senate recount in 2000.
Sverige impression reacting to accusations that he killed Milk Jar.
All right, I can do that for you. Okay, so, people are telling me that I killed Milk Jar. Now, first of all, Milk Jar is an incel loser. If you look at his physical appearance, he is a bit tall, but he's also very ugly. Obviously, being taller makes you stronger, and thus women are more likely to want to have children with you. But he has an extremely ugly face and ugly hair, and that's probably even more important than height. You can look at some Hollywood actors like Tom Cruise. He is very short, which would make him weak and a loser, but he's good looking, and on top of that, he has a lot of money, so it's easy for him to get women and have children. Milk Jar is very ugly, so he could not get any women, which is why he wanted to hang around me, and he was trying to talk to my girlfriend at the time, Luna. So I would probably have been doing him a favor if I killed him, because there is no way he is ever going to have children, and of course the only reason you would want to live is to pass on your genes and have children. But I didn't kill him, and my proof of that is I'm not in jail, but I should have killed him, and I would have been doing him a favor. There you go. Thanks for the donation, Speed Racer.
2008, he was not sworn in finally until July, right? So for House and Senate, you have deadlines of certification that are really for early January when Congress gets sworn in. But you can have a Congress that is not full, does not have every election resolved at the time that it takes place. You can't really do that when you're talking about a governor or a president, right? So the certification timetables are more compressed. And for president, we are really talking about meeting what is referred to as the safe harbor deadline. This is the deadline by which if states certify their election results all the way through the governor, that when that slate of electors then presents their credentials and votes as part of the Electoral College, there's a presumption, a very strong presumption that is the accurate slate of electors and it can't be challenged. And the date after that is actually the meeting of the Electoral College. The final date after that is January 6th, which is the day that Congress tallies the votes. So it's a relatively quicker timetable than what I just described, for example, for the Senate and the House, where you try to meet that early January deadline, but it's not essential. And in 2020, one of the strategies that Republicans engaged in, that Donald Trump engaged in, was to try to force those deadlines to slip. In fact, one of the least, I think, well understood facts, David, about the violent insurrection on January 6th is that the reason why they were storming the Capitol on January 6th was to prevent.
Do I want to debate antinatalism? Not really. It's not an interesting topic.
Certification on the date prescribed in the Constitution. They had this theory that if there was no certification on January 6th, that somehow Donald Trump could then just...
Alu donated $2. Here's for the racists in chat. Good jam.
I'm a minstrel man, the cleaning man, I'm the pole man, I'm a shoe shine man, I'm a nigger man. Watch me dance. I got the devil in me. It's the man you see. Got the devil in me. It's the man you see. Walk on, niggas, walk on. Walk on, niggas, walk on. Shop-a-doo, 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 shop, shop-a-doo, shop. Double 17, double dibbity sound, dibbity bone sound. Shop-a-doo, 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 bone. Walk on, niggas, walk on. Walk on, niggas, walk on. Yeah, walk on, niggas, walk on. Walk on, niggas, walk on. Shop-a-doo, 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 bone. I've been waiting on the welfare line, the employment line, the gas line since 9. Now I'm waiting.
All right. Well, thank you for that. Appreciate the donation, Alu. Sengoku donated $2. Let me see.
Somebody who lifts weights, should you be lifting heavy weight for less reps or light weight for more reps? It depends on the type of exercise you are doing. There are 3 main forms of exercises: compound, accessory, and isolation. Compound exercises are bigger
Whether you're lifting heavy weights for lower reps or lighter weights for higher reps entirely depends on the adaptation that you're trying to elicit, not the specific exercise you're doing.
exercises like squats, deadlifts, shoulder press, bench press, Bulgarian split squat. For these exercises, you should be doing heavier weight in the 3 to 8 rep range. Accessory exercises are exercises like Romanian deadlifts, hip thrust, lat pull downs, bent over rows. For these exercises, you should be doing moderate weight in the 8 to 10 rep range. And then we have your isolation exercise.
Yeah, this video is just stupid. The rep range you do is dependent on the adaptation you're trying to elicit. There's also like periodization considerations. You can't be lifting in the 5 rep range like indefinitely, or else you're just gonna stall or like not make any progress, get injured. But it's dependent on the adaptation you want. Thanks for the donation, Sangoku. My food donated $2.
Hey guys, and welcome to another video where I'm gonna be showing you my relaxing before bedtime yoga routines.
Mid.
And remember a year ago, people were saying, oh,
We've already seen that video.
This is Corinne. She fell in love with Ed Milson.
Em nenhum momento eu não achei que eu nunca iria encontrar, só me mostrou de que poderia dizer sim, uma história de amor verdadeira.
Corinne suffers with an extremely rare skin condition, which means she cannot be exposed
That's bizarre. I thought she had burns.
to direct sunlight. But the couple have faced much criticism online, questioning their relationship and Ed Milson's
Sempre. Meu nome é Karine Souza. Eu tenho dos tipos de câncer,
So she has like a weird
né?
form of
Que é o
cancer?
melanoma. Eu passo assim, ando na rua. Eu sempre
Consulta sem mim.
grande cirurgia.
Eu liguei muito porque
I wouldn't want to have kids with somebody like that just because she has like fucked up genes. Like what are the chances of them having a kid that has that same fucking problem?
Hi guys, so I want to show you guys my Toms today. They're not your usual looking Toms in which you usually expect, but
Is this like a foot fetish thing?
alright. Had them for a
Okay. Thanks for the donation, Mafu.
If you can somehow make it to midnight, then it's like null and void, and Trump just stays as president, I guess.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And if you remember, in the days after January 6th, Peter Navarro talked about the Green Bay sweep, and that this was the theory, right? And so we worry a lot about the time deadlines and whether they are not necessarily playing for success, but they are playing for delay. I think the fact is we all know that. Like, that is one of the things where we have gotten much smarter after 2020. I mean, we do it in 2020, but I think that there will be a real effort to push and make sure states are meeting their marks and meeting their deadlines.
You know, I hate to see everything in a partisan lens, but speaking for myself, if Donald Trump really wins this thing, I want him to be the president. I don't want to end up not having Trump through this sort of subterfuge and manipulation. It would be devastating in terms of my opinion of what's happening in the United States as far as the electorate, what people's values and priorities are. But like, if Trump wins this thing, then wow, we've really got to look at ourselves rather than at delays or, you know, ministerial perversions the way you're talking about. It
Look,
seems as yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, let me react to that. You know, I sat with Hillary Clinton on election night in 2016. And there was nothing that I wanted more than to say there is a legal way for this election to not turn out the way it is. And ultimately, you know, she made the correct decision, the hard decision. Believe me, it was a hard decision to accept the results, even though she had won the popular vote.
Dodo Donatellers, how much Kool-Aid does one need to drink in order to think Trump, RFK Jr., Elon Musk, Tucker Carlson, Tulsi Gabbard are the dream team? They have to be Kool-Aid. There's no help for those people. They are completely and utterly delusional, dude. Thanks for the donation, though, Dodo.
Even though people were calling for us to seek recounts and contests and all of that. In 2004, I was a general counsel to John Kerry when we lost the presidency, and what was a devastating loss for the country if you look back.
And Mark, just to remind the audience, if I remember, that was 140,000 votes in Ohio that hinged on? Yeah.
And once again, we made the hard decision that there just wasn't a way to contest the outcome of Ohio and flip the election. So I have told candidates that this was a close election, but it is not an election that can be, that is close enough for there to be a recount or an election contest and the like. And so I feel like I have walked that walk. I've also been involved in very close elections where they have gone to recounts and the results have been have changed, and most often they don't, but sometimes they do. But you're talking about elections that are decided by hundreds of votes, you know, not tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of votes.
Right.
And I think that is where, you know, what Donald Trump did in 2020 really did a disservice for the country.
In the sense that it has reframed sort of the entire conversation around the concept of opinion as to who won rather than fact.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, look, the fact is that Donald Trump didn't lose a single state by, you know, a very, very narrow margin. He lost 5 states. You know, by the end of the day, you know, Donald Trump's claim was he was cheated in Nevada, he was cheated in Arizona, he was cheated in Pennsylvania, he was cheated in Wisconsin, he was cheated in Georgia. I mean, now he wasn't cheated in any of those states, but there was some type of post-election challenge in each of those. There were recounts or contests or other litigation in all of those states, and like that did a real disservice to the country, you know, because the fact is it wasn't just that he lost Georgia by 11,000 votes, which is a lot of votes. It is that he lost Michigan by, you know, tens of thousands. He lost Pennsylvania by tens of thousands. He lost Wisconsin by tens of thousands. And he created, though, in among Republicans, the sense that even when you lose 7 million votes in the popular vote, even when you lose by multiple states, you can still somehow just throw, you know, and then you lose 60 plus lawsuits, you can still say somehow you're.
Is there anything wrong with being shallow?
I mean, depends on your own personal opinions on what it means to be shallow. So it just depends. Thanks for the donation, Speed Racer.
Grieved, and that is really unhealthy for democracy.
Before I get to my final question, one kind of just wacky thing I wanted to get your reaction to. Some of the stranger things I heard in the aftermath of 2020 were, the ones that stand out were that some of the Arizona ballots had a particular type of bamboo fiber that is not native to Arizona, and that might be indicative of fill in the blanks, what kind of foul play, might be a bamboo that grows in China, etc. In Pennsylvania, something about the number of sandwiches that were delivered to election workers did not seem commensurate with the number of election workers. Therefore, maybe there were ballots either being brought in or taken out, different versions of these sort of stories. When you hear that sort of stuff, that's not even in the ballpark of the things that could ever even really help them, right? Like, that's just the wacky stuff. That's not the techniques you look at and try to prevent.
That's right. I mean, and that's why I started by, when you asked me where am I on the spectrum, like the kinds of claims that they were making after 2020 were just ridiculous. I mean, all of the stuff about the dead Venezuelan dictator somehow having rigged the machines, crazy. Remember, we referred to, the other side referred to a series of their cases filed in Georgia and Michigan and elsewhere as the Kraken cases. Kraken is a mythological sea creature. I mean, the stuff we got from the other side, you mentioned the bamboo fibers in Arizona. That was not true. They also had a theory about Sharpie pens. There was a whole thing called Sharpie Gate. They filed 3 lawsuits over alleged the use of Sharpie pens. There were no Sharpie pens. It was all crazy stuff. What I want folks to understand is that they have upgraded their legal theories. They are still not meritorious, but they are more traditional voter suppression theories. They are based on lies, but they are not the kinds of crazy lies that we saw peddled in 2020. So we're all going to be, busy making sure that democracy is protected. Unfortunately, the other side is going to be trying to, mislead people and spread disinformation, misinformation. But it is not likely going to be the wildest, crazy theories that we saw in the past.
So last thing, very often after listening to 20 minutes of this sort of thing, people end up depressed and overwhelmed, but then they go back to, if we win by so much that this stuff isn't even plausible, that's the best insurance against any of these techniques. Is that true? Is it true that if this is a landslide victory for Kamala Harris, everything that they would try to do becomes even more difficult?
So look, the most important thing people can do is to make sure they are registered to vote, they have a plan to vote, and that they vote, okay, and that their friends and families do. Because certainly the most important thing is that Kamala Harris get more votes in more states within the Electoral College than Donald Trump. And the larger the margin, the harder it is for Donald Trump to contest those margins.
Dodo donated $2.
Because this chart probably saved my life. But this chart is showing, the arrow on the bottom shows that this was the lowest. This was the last week in office for me because of a horrible election where I got many millions more votes than I got the first time, but didn't quite make it, just a little bit short.
And the truth shall set you free.
Well, look at that. It's only taken 4 years, 34 convictions, and an insurrection. But it seems that Donald Trump is finally admitting that he did not win in 2020. Who knows? Maybe Trump let it slip that he did, in fact, lose the 2020 election, even though the rest of us have already known that for years, because of what Obama said at the convention, that he is, in fact, becoming stale. He's becoming that neighbor next door that runs their leaf blower all the time.
And most of all, Donald Trump wants us to think.
That must have been a gaffe. Because he's still claiming he won. Thanks for the donation, though, Dodo.
In court. But I also want to be realistic about something, which is that Donald Trump's lies about elections have only grown larger and larger. I mean, Donald Trump has said that he believes he won Minnesota. Okay, like he lost Minnesota by 7 points. Like Donald Trump has said that he's going to win New York and he's going to win New Jersey. I mean, I think that even if Kamala Harris won every swing state plus the next round of states, North Carolina, whatever, wins Texas, Florida, and it's an electoral college landslide, and the closest race is several 100,000 votes, Donald Trump is still going to come out and say that was fraud. Right. So we need to just bake into the cake that Donald Trump is never going to accept that he lost an election. He is always going to falsely claim fraud, and his supporters will unfortunately support him. And we cannot assume that the establishment Republican Party, such as it is, will do the right thing. I mean, the fact is they haven't done the right thing in years around the.
Subjective continuity means you consider whether your future self will consent to the choice you do in the present. Basically means you die, reborn every moment. What do you think of that?
Anytime I go to the gym and I spot a woman doing squats with kettlebells, I wanna walk up to her and scream, "Weak bitch, stop being a pussy and go to the squat rack and load up the barbell with some real weights. Pussy." Anyways, how's the diet going?
I took a break for the last 2 days because I strained my tricep tendon. It's better now. I think I might be able to do back training at this point. I'm not sure if I can do any chest though. So I'm gonna have to see. Tomorrow I'm gonna try to train, see what I can do, and then based on that, I'll make adjustments to the diet. Because if I can't train hard enough, dieting as aggressively as I'm doing right now, I'm gonna lose a ton of muscle. So I'll just make adjustments to the diet based on what I can't do with my training. But I'm down to 250 pounds. And right now at 250, I have better body composition than I did last year at 240. So I think I gained quite a bit of muscle since then. But yeah, we'll just see what I can't do with training, and then I might diet less aggressively based on what I can't do with training. But thanks for the donation, Son Goku. Appreciate it.
Now that we have cars, do horses really serve any purpose anymore? Aren't they like the least valuable farm animal?
They aren't useful for any real practical purpose, and value is entirely determined on whether or not people are able to put value on something. So their like watches can be millions of dollars, but all they do is tell time. So thanks for the donation though, Speed Racer. Dodo donated $2 and they
President Biden?
You can see he is 6'5" and only 223 pounds, or 235 pounds. Well, you said 6'4", 200. Well, anyway, that's it. Anyway, just take a look at what he says he is, and take a look at what he is. Look, I'd be happy to have a driving contest with him. I got my handicap, which when I was vice president, down to a 6. And by the way, I told you before, I'm happy to play golf. If you carry on back. Think you can do it?
The biggest rival is a 6 handicap of all.
I was at 8 handicap.
Yeah.
8, but I had, you know how many?
I've seen you swing. I know you swing.
All right, thank you for that, Dodo.
How are we feeling today? Relax, I hope, my master.
I am feeling nice and relaxed. I had the last 2 days off, and I've just been chilling. Thanks for the donation, Cordy.
These election denier lies, and so that's going to be the state of play. But should we aim for the most robust victory for Kamala Harris and Tim Walz? Absolutely. Should we aim for an overwhelming sweep in the U.S. Senate? Believe me, yes. Should we want Hakeem Jeffries to have a 25 to 50 vote majority in the House? From my mouth to God's ears, right? That we should want all those things. But we should also recognize that it is not going to stop the other side from lying.
All right, Mark.
All right.
Welcome back, Defenders. Jake here. We're currently on day 16 of Ukraine's special military operation to
Haven't seen the Meghan and Harry South Park episode.
liberate the people of Kursk. And according to General Syrskyi, Ukraine has advanced 28 to 35 kilometers deep into Russian territory. And 2 days ago, General Syrskyi shared a map during his daily brief.
You down for a match, or why not? We can do that.
Check this out and let me know what you think of it.
We've met before, haven't we? I don't think so. You're where right now? At your house. That's fucking crazy, man. Call me. Go ahead. I told you I was here. How'd you do that? Ask me. How'd you get inside my house? You invited me. It is not my custom to go where I'm not wanted. Who are you? Give me back my phone.
I don't know, I guess that looks interesting. Thanks for the donation though, dude.
Mishima. Get ready for the next battle. Round one. Fight.
Wait, what? I don't know why it did that. I really have to figure out some of these.
Fight.
Fuck. Ah, fuck. Fuck.
KO.
I don't even know how I did that. I keep doing that stupid special move. I don't know how I do it.
3. Fight.
Fuck. No. Fuck.
Round 4. Fight. Round 5. Fight.
Fuck! Why didn't it do the move, you bitch? There we go.
Round 6. Fight.
Fuck.
Round 7. Fight.
Great news, VG Trump's own supporters are now cheering on him, link here and here.
You win.
Let me take a look.
We agreed to the same rules. Same rules and same specifications.
Okay, I'll look after, maybe. Thanks for the donation, Dodo. Yeah, not one game.
Kazuya Mishima. Get ready for the next battle.
貴様をここで終わらせる。
Round 1. Fight. Round 2. Fight.
Fuck.
Round 3.
No, I'm not a gambling addict.
Round 4. Fight. Round 5. Fight.
Fuck. Fuck.
Round 6. Fight.
Fuck. What? There we go.
Round 7. Fight. Round 8. Fight.
Fuck! Damn it!
Final round. Fight.
What? I can't believe he had armor. Well, that's your first win. Congratulations. Damn it.
Mishima.
Picked the wrong costume, but whatever. Ugh.
Get ready for the next battle. Round 1. Fight.
Oh. Well, I guess that worked out.
Round 2. Fight. Round 3. Fight. Round 4. Fight.
Fuck. Fuck.
Round 5. Fight.
No! Oh my god.
Round 6. Fight.
Fuck!
Round 7. Fight.
Okay, weird. I don't know.
Round 8. Fight.
Damn it. Okay, well, good job. You got 2 in a row.
You lose.
Ugh. Okay.
And I think that's probably what it should be. But they're trying to change it. The truth is they're trying to get out of it because she doesn't want to debate. She's not a good debater. She's not a smart person. She doesn't want to debate.
The former president himself kind of posted on social media yesterday, throwing doubt into whether or not he may actually try to pull out of this debate. He wrote, quote, "Why would I do the debate against Kamala Harris on that network?" He said that as he continued to, he said he was watching the Sunday show yesterday on ABC, was slamming some of the key people at the network.
Will there be a presidential debate between Donald Trump and Kamala Harris on ABC as planned on?
Here it is. Is this one of the good episodes? BTW, what do you think of Harry and Meghan Earl? You-are-ah. 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 You-are-ah.
We want privacy! We want privacy! Morning, Canada. Canadians, that is, except for our first guest. So, it's so awesome to be here. It's great. So, my Instagram-loving wife has always wanted her privacy.
I don't know what any of that's about, so I have no idea. Thanks for the donation, Riley.
September 10th. I think so. They're just renegotiating the terms of said debate. Donald Trump likes to play this game where he's like, I don't like the network, maybe I don't do the debate. I think he's going to do the debate. Now, as you heard earlier, Trump is saying that he does have a problem with ABC News hosting that debate because they haven't been friendly enough to him. But they're also having some disagreements about whether or not to mute the mics, as was the case with the debate between Trump and Biden. Take a look.
Back in June for that June.
People know how to kind of push his buttons. You know, this will make you look weak to your political base. This will, you know. So I think that in writing the story, I'm hoping to, if he's reelected, to inoculate him a little bit, you know, so that he's not that easy to, you know, to manipulate, you know, and to appeal to, you know, maybe some of his insecurities and some of his predilections.
Lieutenant General H.R. McMaster, the gentleman you just heard from, served as the national security advisor in the Trump administration for about a year. And it turns out he just published a book in which he kind of trashes Trump's leadership and his foreign policy. Now, I just want to get this off my chest before I continue with what he had to say about Trump and what he was like in the Oval Office. H.R. McMaster is a neocon. He did not like the fact that Donald Trump wanted to pull American troops out of Afghanistan. In fact, he wanted the United States to have a deeper commitment, as he likes to put it, in Afghanistan. And so that disagreement on foreign policy, I'm sure, plays a big role in his disdain for Trump. But nonetheless, in his book, he basically paints Trump as this incredibly insecure, easily manipulated individual who's constantly seeking validation from those around him.
Well, yeah, that's definitely what Trump is like. Thanks, Dodo. I survived abortion until I was dead on arrival. Low was the delivery in poor taste.
John Smith
is on the line. And I don't care what's on the line, Howard, you have got to say what we know in the booth.
Yes, we have to say it. Remember, this is just a football game, no matter who wins or loses. An unspeakable tragedy confirmed to us by ABC News in New York City. John Lennon, outside of his apartment building on the west side of New York City, the most famous perhaps of all of the Beatles, shot twice in the back, rushed to Roosevelt Hospital, dead on arrival. Hard to go back to the game after that news flash, which in duty bound we had to tell. Frank?
I don't know. Elias Donate Tellers, have you considered playing this game?
And a lifetime can pass. The only thing. Let us not forget, masters, others who have suffered. As the smoke rises, so shall we. You will do the deed.
When is this coming out? Is it already out?
Team Ninja, the folks behind so many games. More recently, Neo 1 and 2 and Wolong Fallen Dynasty. They've kind of taken
Yeah, if it's a PS5 exclusive, then no. It's got to be on PC.
things they've learned from those games and set their ambitions on an open world adventure in a cool historic stealth kill throw.
It looks like fucking shit. The frame rate is super low and the graphics look like fucking garbage.
A Ghost of Tsushima, it is very much its own thing. For some people, like if you know what that means or you know.
Yeah, that just looks bad. It just looks like blurry. Like hard to see anything. So I don't think so. Thanks for the donation though, Elias.
I'll order some Lunchables. Why not? 1 a.m. Why the fuck not? Well, they're probably gonna be live for another couple hours because I'm basically just running out the clock here until I have to fly to Maryland to meet up with Brandon before we go to India. So I'm gonna be live for another couple hours here, I think.
The Prime Minister faced blunt questions in Halifax today about his political future.
You say that you plan to stay on despite persistently bad polling, despite the by-election loss in Toronto, that your party lost for the first time in 3 decades because you want to continue to deliver. Isn't that what Joe Biden insisted on?
Listen, we are focused on.
Well, Justin Trudeau is gonna run the Liberal Party into the fucking ground. Thank you, Justin.
Being there for Canadians. We're focused on stepping up on support and investments that are going to leave Canadians better off for the coming years.
Told you it was a blunt question. Well, there.
In every metric, aside for maybe like abortion rights, the Liberal Party has not delivered anything.
Has been discontent in the Liberal ranks, but Trudeau's cabinet ministers say they are standing by him.
We have confidence in him as the leader of our government, as the Prime Minister of Canada, and we have confidence in him as our party's leader, as the guy who is going to lead us into the next election.
I think the Prime Minister is doing a great job in making sure that he's reflecting what Canadians are saying and hearing.
I'm very hopeful and optimistic about this next election with the leader we have, with the team we have.
So, has Justin Trudeau done enough to quell the discord in caucus? And what options do the Liberals have to win back voters? It's time to bring in the Monday Power Panel. Former CBC Ottawa Bureau Chief Rob Russo, Lisa Raitt is a former Conservative cabinet minister, and here with me, Vandana Qatar.
I know nothing about Canadian politics. Can you sum it up?
Yeah, it's basically the same as American politics, except less retarded. And everyone's a little more polite. Thanks for the donation, Vegan Linguist.
As a former advisor to Prime Minister Trudeau. Welcome, everybody. Rob, I'm going to start with you. Let's start with that first question. What is your analysis of how effectively Justin Trudeau has been able to squelch some of that frustration?
I'm not sure he squelched the frustration at all. I think it's still there. How has he dealt with it? I think he's done an effective job in one particular area. The rival that a lot of people are talking about is Mark Carney. He has come right out and in effect said, Mr. Carney, if you're interested, I want you. So Mr. Carney now is in a bit of a box. Is he going to join the Liberal fray? Or is he going to wait until there's some sort of catastrophe? There are a lot of people in the Liberal Party who are wondering whether or not he's going to want to jump in now. And I don't think he is going to until Mr. Trudeau is gone. Whether or not Mr. Trudeau is going to go, I don't think is going to become clear. And I think that answer that he and his ministers are giving about his future will hold for about 3 weeks.
What's the Canadian equivalent to California? It would have to be British Columbia.
What happens in 3 weeks? There's going to be a by-election in Les Alemars. It's another one of those chateau forts for the Liberal Party. Should they lose in Les Alemars, which is one of those sort of black sun moments, I think that the questions will intensify again, and that kind of a response probably won't sit well with Liberals, including some of the people around the cabinet table for Mr. Trudeau.
Vandana, I mean, you were an advisor to the Prime Minister for some time. Do you think the question of whether he's staying or going is resolved right now?
No, I think what I see is a Prime Minister who spent the summer reflecting, the summer who spent a lot of time with Canadians. I saw him in a number of Canadian festivals, like Filipino festivals, Nigerian festivals, and just connecting with Canadians. And I think he feels the confidence that he understands what Canadians are looking for and that he can deliver on what they want, which is making him sure that he can set the ability to have a high quality of life and deliver on things like affordability and housing. I think he feels confident with his cabinet and most of his caucus members as well. And I think he feels that, he can do this. And he has a tool and a blueprint to do this. And when I think about what he's saying, I think he feels like there's a lot of runway still. I think a year is a long time and can be essentially pivotal, but I think we'll see what happens. We'll see.
Reasons to learn, reasons to be, chewing on his fingernails a bit about this?
Maybe not so much for him, Catherine, but certainly people around him wondering whether or not they can actually take a little bit of that magic dust that's happening in the United States with the bounce back in the polls for the Democrats when they do change their leader. I found Markey's question really pointed. The Prime Minister, of course, is not going to say, yes, I'm so glad you asked. I'm thinking about this all the time, whether or not I can stick around. But equally, he can say no. And he didn't say no. He said, let me tell you what I'm doing for Canadians. So
refresh, a show of contrition from the Prime Minister. What do you think Justin Trudeau can do right now to turn the tide of public opinion?
Well, he shuffled 3/4 of his cabinet a year ago, and that didn't do him any good. So I don't think that's the answer. Look, he's in government. He controls the levers of government. The Liberals are in power. The route to salvation is to govern. We saw a little bit of that today in terms of some important changes to the number of people who are going to be allowed into Canada. That deals with an issue that is top of mind for younger people in particular, under 35, who are deserting Mr. Trudeau and looking for affordable housing. But that's something that's going to actually not help for another 10 years or so. So he's dealing with the demand side in terms of reducing demand by reducing the number of newcomers. He's got to do more on the supply.
This whole immigration thing in relation to housing is complete and utter bullshit. So for one thing, there's literally, I think the deficit in housing is something like 3 or 4 million houses need to be built to meet demand. It's just not being impacted much by immigration. Secondly, immigration may actually help with housing because there's not enough of a labor force to even build these houses. So if you get more immigrants who can do that kind of labor, that might actually be a solution to the housing issue. And again, because housing is so expensive in Canada right now, there aren't many immigrants that are coming here buying houses anyway. So it's not really doing anything to lower the cost of homes. They just need to build more fucking houses.
High side of housing. But other than that, he needs new policy. He needs something that people will get
I would never move to the UK. The UK is a complete shithole. You have no rights, no freedom of speech. They will literally lock you up for saying things that are offensive. And there are a ton of fucking terrorists in the UK. If I moved to the UK, I would immediately get fucking doxxed by these Muslim radical terrorists, and they just fucking throw acid in my face or stab me to death.
excited about, something that will restore hope in terms of affordability and the economy. And he's in power. He's got a year to do that. If I were around the cabinet table, I'd be saying to him, what can we come up with that are going to make people feel optimistic about the future?
Montana, what do you think of that analysis?
I think it's a good analysis. I think what the
This is who I think should be the new Prime Minister of Canada.
Sir, you recently passed a new law allowing parents who had given their children up for adoption to change their minds. My little brother was—
That's it first!
Ike! Kyle!
Prime Minister, these are the child's Canadian parents. Their Canadian blood pumps through his veins. Would you send him back to America with those world-hungry scum?
Please, sir. I came because I don't think Ike belongs here. Family isn't about whose blood you have in you. Family's about the people who cared about you and took care of you.
That was a great speech, Ken. But the answer is no. All of my new laws will stay in effect forever.
Haha, you lose, Americans.
Then I suppose us Mounties will never get our horses.
And we won't get our wine. And we
Riley, don't need tellers. Non-vegan told me it's better to breed animals into existence and give them a good life and kill them than never exist at all. And that if we didn't farm animals and kill them, we wouldn't be able to have so many animals in existence. Yeah, that's retarded. Thanks for the donation, Riley.
can't perform sodomy, eh?
But why are you making such strange laws?
I said go!
Oh my god! They killed Kenny! You, these horses, and French people's wine. What the hell kind of prime minister are you anyway?
I am the Prime Minister of Canada. I can do whatever I...
Uh-oh.
Don't mind that guy hiding in the spider hole. He's just my friend.
What the hell?
Hey, that looks like Saddam Hussein.
Saddam Hussein? Nah, relax, baby. I'm not him.
That explains everything. The new Prime Minister was Saddam Hussein, once again trying to take over our beloved Canada like he did before.
Saddam Hussein? He was fooling us?
Get him!
Don't shoot. I want to negotiate. Hey, relax.
Hey, come on, boys. You can spend Christmas with us, Canada style. To the world, ding dong, the Americans come.
Yes.
You guys are going to get me killed.
And they said.
They just laughed.
Mia Khalifa would become one of the most notorious names in...
Wait, so why did she do it if she thought she was gonna get if she thought she was gonna get killed? Was she like homeless and like needed the money really bad? Like what was going on? She thought she was gonna get killed. I mean, she didn't have to do it, right? I will say I have sympathy for her given the fact that, you know, she married a 23-year-old and she started dating a 23-year-old and she was 16, and then she married him as soon as she turned 18. I mean, she kind of got groomed. She got groomed, bro. That's odd.
Porn,
Real
which
top,
is
boy.
when Bang Bros provided her a contract she allegedly signed under extreme duress.
When you sign your contracts, you have, you know, the president and the CEO of the company sitting in the room with you, waiting for you to read it. And when you're reading it, you're not comprehending anything that's written because you're so nervous because people are staring at you.
When these videos exploded in popularity and millions took to the internet to scrutinize her, she tried to get away and lead a normal life, but following 2 failed normie job attempts, she felt it was impossible to get her old anonymous life back. It was around this time that she attempted to become a content creator and build her.
Especially for I believe that just because like if I at the time was like a 16-year-old boy and like every 16-year-old boy in my school knew about her and who she was and like had seen her naked, right? If we had all seen that, like it couldn't have been the only high school, you know? There's no doubt she was widely known as a porn star by everyone. Like she applies for a job, you look up her name, you instantly see her in his job sucking a dick. Like you're just, it's so difficult. Vegan Gain says this is why most of these people have agents that can advocate for you. She's just lying. Okay, I don't know about that yet. I call cap, but she definitely did it because she wanted to. This is just my opinion. Well, I don't know. We'll see what goes on in the video. I mean, two things can be true. Maybe she wanted to, but she also felt pressured. I mean, but, you know, we'll see what went on here.
Her social media following. Through this, many people wanted to hear her story, as she began speaking against the adult industry for tricking vulnerable women, like herself, into bad contracts, and professed to have only made $12,000 for her videos. Soon after
$12,000? I remember that, yeah. $12,000 to be like the most famous porn star of all time. That's crazy. That's such a low amount.
The multi-million-dollar organization out, they created an alleged smear campaign against her.
The people responsible for this get to just live high and dry, and they get to continue doing it to this day.
Can I tell you what makes me sleep peacefully at night, though?
Sure.
Knowing that a man made an entire smear campaign against me because that's how much he fears me.
Mia has said time and time again that she would never have gone into this career if it hadn't been for men who had forced her into positions that she did not want to be in. And this is essentially the surface level story she's been telling people for the last 10 years. Heck, even I retold it years ago in a video.
Damn, I feel like he's setting her up to knock her down. I feel like he's setting this up to destroy her life. Gooner Gaines, thank you for the 2. I'm enjoying a nice juicy medium rare porterhouse right now. That sounds good. Hope it's fire.
Covering her. Every interview she does usually revolves around her getting asked the same handful of questions with the same responses. And occasionally, if someone says something she doesn't like, it becomes very tense.
The word porn star appears immediately. That is something that you will never, ever overcome, however much.
First of all, that's rude. I'm trying to.
First of all, I was in the adult industry for 3 months, so you need to fucking fact check before you ask me to call into your shitty radio station.
She's so mad. Jesus. She's maulding. She's maulding. Can you chat on Discord real quick about this? I mean, I'm after this video, maybe if you want to chat, sure, but there's a lot going on here, you know.
This pattern has caused there to be a simplified, and in my opinion at least, often skewed telling of events. That being said, through deeper digging, I was able to compile some often unreferenced information, usually in the form of an occasional anecdote she'd tell if she was feeling more comfortable. And even though I haven't connected everything, I think I have a far better understanding of this tale that is often surprising, outrageous, and honestly quite tragic. But before we go any further with this video, I just want to give...
You almost got me, Gamer from Mars. You almost got me.
Why are radical Muslims moving to democratic countries across Europe? Is this actually happening in large amounts?
It's because they fucked up their own home country with radical Islam, and now they're trying to spread radical Islam to these countries and make them shitholes. That's basically why. Thanks for the donation, Majin Buu.
What up, you sick son of a bitch? Make more motovlog LLL.
So there's some good cat butts. She's gonna get bit.
아이고, 미안해.
Oh, she didn't get bit. It's a nice iguana. Wow, what a nice penguin. Oh my god, I'd love a penguin friend. Thanks for the donation, Oko.
I agree, that was fucking retarded. I can't believe these people are so fucking disgusting. Why do they try so hard to justify hurting innocent sentient beings? It's so sad. BTW, that South Park vid was about Harry and Meghan leaving the royal family.
I see. I don't know who the fuck they are. Thanks for the donation, Riley.
I was.
So depending on what interview you're listening to, there are two possible reasons Mia went to the expensive boarding school.
Well, I guess in that interview she could have been lying, because that seems like it was more from the porn days, so maybe she was like lying about that to seem more sexy and slutty or something. You know, I could give her that. And I mean, as for the bullying thing, I don't really care if someone was a bully in high school. It's not my problem. You know, I don't give a shit. Especially kids in high school are so stupid. You don't realize what the fuck you're doing a lot of the time. You don't realize the negative consequences they can have on someone. But I will say, like, her indignance over, like, oh, I was bullied, I was a victim, I was an outcast, and then being like, I was a bully. I actually was a bully. It's like, I don't know, that's weird. Boogie faking Ligma was so Sigma. True. I honestly believe the shitty stuff she said that happened to her, but the way she went about exposing them hurt her reputation. Well, I guess we'll see more about that, because I don't know all the details.
She had no friends at public school, or she was a wild child her parents were desperately trying to tame. After graduation, Mia reflected on her experience positively and even mentioned that she had plans to continue in the military. However, those aspirations quickly faded when she realized she was getting tired of the strict schedule. Without a plan and looking to feel settled, she turned her attention to another way of still having the military around her without being directly involved: marrying into the military. It was in the boarding school that was meant to shelter her where Mia met her first husband, Wyatt O'Brien. He was 23 at the time when she was only 16. This should have been a warning for Mia, but she admitted that at the time she felt a connection with Wyatt because he made her feel desired.
It definitely should have been a warning, but also, I mean, she was a kid, right? So, like, how much can you really blame her for that? You know what I mean? I'm not saying Gamer from Mars is doing that, but, like, she's a child in the situation, you know? Have you been tested for polycythemia vera? No, I might have it. I might have cancer. I actually do have it right now in my mind.
He would call her mature for her age. 4 days after her 18th birthday.
Common line. She's so mature for her age. Common line, bro.
In 2011, he convinced Mia to elope, though the couple didn't spend much time together because the military forced Wyatt to be away often. When they were together, she discovered a dark secret of Mr. O'Brien. He could only have sex after watching explicit content.
He had a very unhealthy porn obsession. It was to the point where we never had sex unless he was watching porn first. And it was, I mean, that was just his twisted fantasy.
To be fair,
he's a porn addict, dude. He's a literal gooner. Common U.S. Army freak. Is that common, SP? I remember when Mia Khalifa was an iFunny spokesperson, which is the most random person to have. Like, what the fuck? Well, she was a big meme at the time. Also a big fan. Keep up with the drama. What was she an iFunny spokesperson? I don't remember that. I don't even remember that. Mia Khalifa iFunny. Meme Academy? What? What is this? Credentials.
What does it take to teach memeology at iFunny's Meme Academy? I did my undergrad at Columbia.
Oh, bruh.
Got my master's at Harvard and a PhD from Oxford in memeology.
This is the worst thing I've ever seen in my life. Now I remember why I hated iFunny.
No, I'm just kidding. I got kicked out of community college for smoking weed. Now I just make sick-ass memes all day and they get shared by millions. And you can too. iFunny's Meme Academy starts soon. Don't miss out.
iFunny Meme Academy? What the fuck is this? Meme Academy, former students.
A few of you have asked me, Professor K, what have your students gone on to achieve after studying memeology with you? Let me introduce you to some.
I've never seen something worse in my fucking life. Oh, Keemstar's reaction. I love Keemstar.
The next few weeks, I'm going to be teaching you the world's finest art form, memeology.
Justified reaction, honestly.
Let's just watch the Gamer from Mars
Mia
video.
Khalifa is a woman best known for her stint in the adult film industry, who over the past decade has attempted to not be defined by her old life and instead turn herself into a social media influencer, boasting millions of followers. Let's be honest here, you all know who she is, with the journalists and YouTubers alike having made short videos and articles detailing the basic gist of things. Recently though, me listening to a few podcasts with her born out of curiosity soon turned into a full journey down the Khalifa rabbit hole, as I began listening to every single one of her interviews and scouring all the archives I could find, leading me to discover an untold tale of one of the most famous people on the internet that no one has actually bothered to piece together. In short, I want to get to the bottom of the many paradoxes and inconsistencies of this former adult star, but I'm getting ahead of myself here. Let's start simply with the story you know, which is the one Mia has told time and time again. Sarah Jo Shaman, Mia Khalifa's birth name, was born in Beirut, Lebanon on February 10th, 1993. For the first 8 years of her life, she lived in the Middle East and was raised.
Yeah, so she's Lebanese, and given what she said about Jews recently, it explains everything. She is literally a fucking Nazi. She's posted on Twitter about how she wants a second Holocaust. There's videos of her saying all the Jews need to be exterminated. She's a piece of shit.
Catholic while attending private school that taught her English. In 2001, closely after 9/11, her family moved to America, which proved to be terrible timing. Mia had a very difficult time assimilating in the US initially. The public school system was not kind either, as she was one of the very few non-white students and was bullied for her weight. Mia claims to have grown up feeling out of place and unattractive.
And then I get to high school, and I'm kind of in that weird middle class where I know the popular kids, and I'm cool with like one or two of them, but we like don't hang out outside of school. I'm not really a loser. I just have no place in high school. I don't know my place.
There was bullying surrounding the way I looked, the way I acted, the food I brought to school, basically everything.
Yeah.
I just did, and I didn't know anything else, so I didn't know if I would ever fit in anywhere. I thought everywhere was like this.
So you felt very isolated.
Very.
As a teen, she was sent to a military boarding school and soon started dating her first husband, Wyatt O'Brien, who was 7 years older than her. They met when she was 16 and he was 23, eloping 4 days after her 18th birthday, which she did because she had very little self-worth at the time.
Toxic, manipulative relationships and men in your life, what do you think was like the reason you got into them, and how did you get out of them?
I got into them because I didn't think highly of myself.
Following the marriage, the teen decided to go to college at the University of Texas, El Paso, and received a bachelor's degree in history. It was in this period that she lost 60 pounds. Despite now being happy with her weight, she was still insecure about her body, which led her to undergo plastic surgery. Overnight, she started receiving tons of attention for her new look. This is when, at 21, she was randomly stopped by a man in the adult industry.
Someone did confront me, but it was out like I was at the mall.
Okay.
And they're like, hey, you want to do some modeling? And I never really had my wild phase in college. I was very reserved. And a car literally stops dead on its tracks and rolls the window down. And they're like, you are so gorgeous. Would you like to model for me? Like, can I give you my card?
She then took his card home as a joke to show her husband, who was thrilled by the idea of seeing his wife in adult movies. She would later accuse him of abuse and pushing the young woman into an industry that she did not morally or ethically agree with. She told many media outlets that she did it.
So this is a lie. She was working at a burger restaurant, and I think this was after she got breast augmentation. And there was somebody who worked in the adult porn industry who saw her and then said, "Oh my God, you're so fucking sexy. Have you ever thought about shooting porn and shit?" And then she was like, that sounds like fun. And then she joined up. She wanted to do it. She was interested. She was asked about it, and she wanted to do it. Nobody who goes into porn through those sorts of circumstances who aren't like sex trafficked or anything or groomed from the age of 16, they want to do it. So she always wanted to do it and had no moral issues with doing it.
I want to make Mia Khalifa choke on my big hairy Jew cock. Stupid bitch. She is an uneducated, over-opinionated idiot.
Yes. Thanks for the donation, Bear Jew.
To please him, and not because it was something she was interested in.
I deeply and morally and fundamentally disagree. Legally.
Yeah.
Also, if we're getting nitpicky.
Right, like ethically. Yeah.
With them as a person. I even feel weird calling it a relationship because the dynamic was not one of a relationship. It was more one of someone who saw a toy to play with.
Despite these supposed hang-ups, she would go on to film an infamous hijab-wearing scene under the name Mia Khalifa that made her one of the most watched adult actresses in the world. The former claims that the scene was not her idea and she did not want to do it, fearing for her life.
You must have known how provocative that was.
I verbatim told them, you guys are going to get me killed.
And they said?
They just laughed.
Mia Khalifa would become one of the most notorious names in porn, which is when Bang Bros provided her a contract she allegedly signed under extreme duress.
When you sign your contracts, you have, the president and the CEO of the company sitting in the room with you, waiting for you to read it. And when you're reading it, you're not comprehending anything that's written because you're so nervous because people are staring at you.
When these videos exploded in popularity and millions took to the internet to scrutinize her, she tried to get away and lead a normal life, but following 2 failed normie job attempts, she felt it was impossible to get her old, anonymous life back. It was around this time that she attempted to become a content creator and build her social media following. Through this, many people wanted to hear her story, as she began speaking against the adult industry for tricking vulnerable women, like herself, into bad contracts, and professed to have only made $12,000 for her videos. Soon after calling the multi-million-dollar organization out, they created an alleged smear campaign against her.
The people responsible for this get to just live high and dry, and they get to continue doing it to this day.
Can I tell you what makes me sleep peacefully at night, though?
Sure.
Knowing that a man made an entire smear campaign against me because that's how much he fears me.
Mia has said time and time again that she would never have gone into this career if it hadn't been for men who had forced her into positions that she did not want to be in. And this is essentially the surface level story she's been telling people for the last 10 years. Heck, even I retold it years ago in a video covering her. Every interview she does usually revolves around her getting asked the same handful of questions with the same responses, and occasionally if someone says something she doesn't like, it becomes very tense.
The word porn star appears immediately. That is something that you will never, ever overcome, however much.
First of all, that's rude. I'm trying to.
First of all, I was in the adult industry for 3 months, so you need to fact check before you ask me to call into your shitty radio station.
This pattern has caused there to be a simplified, and in my opinion at least, often skewed telling of events. That being said, through deeper digging, I was able to compile some often unreferenced information, usually in the form of an occasional anecdote she'd tell if she was feeling more comfortable. And even though I haven't connected everything, I think I have a far better understanding of this tale that is often surprising, outrageous, and honestly quite tragic. But before we go any further with this video, I just want to give a shout out to my down below and use promo to shed more light on why Sarah might possibly have turned into Mia. Coming from the Middle East, her parents must have been terrified of Western cultures and the influences it could have on their daughter. Due to this, Mia claims that she had more freedom in Lebanon to visit friends than she did in the States. Being unsuccessful socially at public school, her parents decided to move her to Massanutten Military Academy, a boarding school for grades 8 through 12 located in Woodstock, Virginia. Despite being tormented,
Riley Donate Tellers, what's your view on being an anti-natalist in principle, but a natalist in practice as utilitarian calculation to reduce WAS? What's WAS stand for? I don't know, I don't care. Thanks for the donation, Riley. Sengoku donated $2, let me see. That girl looks way too muscular to be doing this as her primary mode of exercise. It's either that or she's on anabolic steroids. So yeah, she lifts weights. Yeah, she's in good shape. Thanks for the donation, Son Goku.
at public school and knowing how horrible it feels to be picked on, Mia has admitted to being a bully while at the academy.
You sat in front of me in class,
When
you were
will
getting a
these
jelly roll in
fucking
your hair.
retards that spread mis/disinfo that First Amendment refers to government?
Mark Zuckerberg admits censorship as curb election donations. Okay. The social media platforms can do whatever they want. I'm assuming they only have a personal interest in not censoring certain political content because they don't want to end up getting regulated by the government. So they just do their own sort of regulation to avoid the government getting their paws in these platforms, but they can censor whatever they want. It's not a free speech issue. Thanks for the donation, though, Ben.
Dude, you're a bully. Were you a bully? I was.
It may have been her natural ability to haze other students that allowed her to find community at this academy, or maybe it was because she had more freedom than living with her parents. In more recent interviews...
So I could be wrong about this, because this is shit I came across years ago. I might be misremembering, but I think she was having some sort of sexual intercourse with students at her public school. Like she sucked a dick or something, and her parents found out about it, and that's why they sent her to some kind of private school.
She refers to herself as isolated in high school, though it does appear to be where she became more active in an adult context.
Were you known as a blowjob girl?
I was.
So depending on what interview you're listening to, there are two possible reasons Mia went to the expensive boarding school. She had no friends at public school, or she was a wild child her parents were desperately trying to tame. After graduation, Mia reflected on her experience positively and even mentioned that she had plans to continue in the military. However, those aspirations quickly faded when she realized she was getting tired of the strict schedule. Without a plan and looking to feel settled, she turned her attention to another way of still having the military around her without being directly involved: marrying into the military. It was in the boarding school that was meant to shelter her where Mia met her first husband, Wyatt O'Brien. He was 23 at the time when she was only 16. This should have been a warning for Mia, but she admitted that at the time she felt a connection with Wyatt because he made her feel desired. He would call her mature for her age. 4 days after her 18th birthday in 2011, he convinced Mia to elope, though the couple didn't spend much time together because the military forced Wyatt to be away often. When they were together, she discovered a dark secret of Mr. O'Brien. He could only have sex after watching explicit content.
He had a very unhealthy porn obsession. It was to the point where we never had sex unless he was watching porn first. And it was, I mean, that was just his twisted fantasy.
To be fair, her husband has never spoken to the media about this relationship. But interestingly, with enough digging, you can see that they both seem to be active online during this era. Going to Reddit, I discovered a post talking about users named Dirty Chem and Dirty Chem's wife, who used to be in the cuckolding community. This is interesting because some claim them to be Mia and Wyatt before her rise to fame. It was from that lead that I uncovered lewd photos of Mia on multiple subreddits prior to her professional career, where she seems to tease her husband. She posted things such as, "Today I plan on going and getting by a guy who thinks I'm cheating on my husband with him, while he works late and leaving this post on the computer alone with dinner sitting in front of it." The attached link shows her messaging a man named Cody who is excited to hook up with Mia. "I just want to get you already. Should I leave, LOL? Yes. Hallelujah. LMAO. There's even a follow-up of Wyatt finding out about her and Cody and getting excited. Here you can see Mia's hand on top of a man's lap that is presumably not her husband's, with her spouse responding, "Go on." Things got progressively racier from here, with the images and messages turning into posts showing full-on
So does this sound like somebody who has a moral objection to pornography? No. So she was kind of horny, fucked around a lot, and then when somebody offered her a porn gig, she wanted to do it. She's just lying.
I was so happy to see this headline over the summer when SCOTUS ruled that reaffirmed the Biden administration's efforts to combat mis/disinfo.
U.S. Supreme Court will not curb Biden's administration's social media contacts. Yeah. There's no basis in which they only ask for requests to take down misinfo. They're not actually doing anything to prevent any of these social media platforms to allow this sort of content. Thanks for the donation, though, Ben.
Explicit acts. One Redditor states, "My wife likes to put something sexy on when my buddy comes over for our weekly poker game." Wyatt responded, "Whoa, that's awesome. You two should figure out a way to make sure all the guys see but act like it's a mistake. See who makes a move on her." Wyatt even answered questions about Mia and confirmed her identity in an Our Hot Wife post. "That's my wife, not Indian though, Lebanese. She's been posted on this sub multiple times, LOL." These accounts predate Mia's time in the adult industry, making the popular story of Mia randomly being given a card and jumping into hardcore porn less believable since there seemed to be a slower progression towards that. Many of the posts involving Wyatt and Mia are now deleted, but I did manage to find a few where Wyatt addresses his wife coming into the industry. In 2020, he responded to someone posting about Mia being forced into filming. It was an experimental age for both of us. We both enjoyed it at the time. Then when someone asked how he felt about his ex being a famous adult star, he responded with, "Don't really care, to be honest." Wyatt also responded back to a Redditor who felt bad that girls like Mia would do porn. Wyatt responded, "Why? She enjoys it." O'Brien has been quiet about his former wife since these posts, most likely because he'd now have to answer for the claims of grooming, and we'll get into their separation later. It's interesting to show that her explicit internet debut was much earlier than any source listed as currently, and from what I can tell, she has never publicly talked about these accounts. But Reddit is not the only topic Mia avoids discussing. When Mia was living in El Paso, Texas in 2012, still married, working at a restaurant while attending college, she lost a lot of weight, which she talks about a lot.
And then I kind of started to chase that validation because I felt like that was the only way for me to get positive attention from men because I was so overweight growing up.
I lost 50 pounds in college,
but I was overweight for, honestly, until a year before I went into the industry.
While it is a good anecdote, I noticed that as time has gone on, she has made the spin on it much more negative.
You lost 50 pounds exercising or starving or all of the above?
No, it was through exercise.
That's great.
The first thing I did was cut out soda. And also I don't drink that often, so I never had to worry about like beer weight or like wine calories or liquor and stuff. So cutting soda out really helped.
By 2021, this has shifted as she now alleges to have lost the weight through more harmful methods.
Right.
And I lost the weight in the worst possible way.
What do you mean? How did you do it?
Not eating, just being completely unhealthy.
So she's a manipulative liar. When you see stories like this change over time, this is evidence that these people are just lying about everything. They will lie and try to get sympathy so that they can get more fame, attention, social power. She's just completely and utterly full of shit.
Using laxatives, just doing all of these things to put my body through the ringer and lose this weight so drastically.
No matter how she lost the weight, the young college student was impressed with herself and wanted other people to see her hard work. Since Wyatt was gone often and she was forced to wear a drab uniform at her mundane restaurant gig, Mia may have wanted a change of pace. A more exciting life, if you will. So in 2012, she decided to take a job at Q-Rotica, El Paso's ultimate exotic and erotic adult party. It was here that she supposedly met the Reddit user NotDirtyChem, who managed the strip club and exposed Mia's job in the adult party scene. I managed to dig up a now-deleted post which detailed their long-term relationship, and if this account is to be believed, it details his long-term relationship with Mia, all the while never knowing that she was actually married. And while I can't say definitively this is real, he does provide pictures of Mia which are not available anywhere else on the web, so you can be the judge. NotDirtyChem claims that Mia would speak briefly on the phone with Wyatt, but told him it was her gay best friend. He even alleges that she filmed them having sex without his permission. Their relationship lasted past her days of giving lap dances and into her time in Miami, showing another instance of Mia exposing herself to the risque and embracing it. Mia fully stopped working at the club around 2013 when she moved to Miami after claiming to have gotten her degree.
So I was able to graduate college in 3 years because I had 3 years of high school, college credits earned. So I went to UTEP. Graduated, got out of there as fast as possible because there was nothing in El Paso.
I hate to keep on giving these side notes, but I could not find any record of Mia ever graduating from El Paso. I combed through all the school's commencement names dating from 2010 to 2020, and her legal name was not found. I don't doubt that Mia
So she's probably lying.
Went to college, but there is a question of why she doesn't show up on these records. Anyway, back to the video. Mia felt self-conscious about her body after attaining a thinner frame. This was due to the fact that she now had extra skin and didn't like how her breasts looked, missing the old version of them.
I had 34 triple Ds, and then I lost 60 pounds, and I had 32 As, but I had all of this excess skin to the point where the doctor couldn't put implants in, otherwise my nipples would face like my toes. So they had to do a lift and then put implants in.
It appears the biggest reason for her move to Miami was for her boob job. She did copious amounts of research about the procedure and the best doctors to give her the look she was going for.
Part of the reason I chose Miami was actually because I knew I didn't want to live in California, but the best doctors for that are in Beverly Hills. But the second best place is Coral Gables in Miami.
Following the surgery and painful recovery, Mia noticed that as she was out eating, walking down the street, and just carrying on about her life, that eyes were always following her. All of a sudden, people, specifically men, couldn't keep their eyes off of her. She felt like she finally was attractive, desired, and started to change her wardrobe to show off her new curves.
So I had to do some research, and so you worked at Whataburger,
I did
right?
not.
Did you not? Is that all made up? Is that all made up?
Where did
It
you
is all
research?
made up.
I did obviously the wrong thing. Is that made up for real?
Someone did confront me, but it was out I was at the mall.
It was outside this establishment in a plaza where she'd hear a car come to a screeching stop. The black-tinted window rolled down to reveal a middle-aged man in the driver's seat, who openly looked her up and down, telling her she was drop-dead gorgeous, and had the perfect body for modeling. Mia took the card and then researched the company, shocked to discover that it was for nude modeling and pornography. Looking at her testimonies, I do believe that she likely took the card home, showed it to her husband, who then agreed it would be a good idea. This lines up with her feelings of being pressured into it. She explained that she waited 2 weeks, but was unable to deny her curiosity and the allure of the new job.
There is so much porn out there that there's no way that anyone is ever going to see me. So I kind of did it just to let off some steam and be, I don't know, I thought it would be my dirty little
Bullshit. Bullshit. She wanted to do it.
secret, and then it blew up in my face.
Mia never expounded on what exactly she was rebelling.
By the way, she never had to show this to her husband. She never had to take the card. She wanted to do it.
Against. But her former associate, Gilbert Arenas, spoke in an interview that she decided to go into the industry because she was, quote, pissed off at her parents.
Like, it was like, then you feel bad because it's like, well, I didn't dance that long. I was only doing it because I was pissed off at my parents.
If you're keeping track, this makes 3 possible stories as to why Mia became an adult actress. Either it was because she wanted validation, was angry at her parents, or coerced by her ex-husband. Maybe it was a combination of all 3. No matter what the case may be,
The third option is impossible because she never had to tell her husband that she was propositioned to do pornography.
we know for sure is that she began working with the editor who stopped her in the street, Dave, at the company Scoreland, a smaller operation based in Miami that specializes in women with large breasts. Mia has barely ever talked about her time at this company, preferring to focus on her most well-known videos from Bang Bros. Because of this, people often summarize her rise to fame as her being approached behind the counter at a Whataburger by Bang Bros, which is a weird, false amalgamation of stories. At Scoreland, she acted in videos under the alias Mia Khalifa. She shot over 2 hours of content with them and 366 photos. While she might not have wanted the entire world to know her dirty little secrets, she certainly didn't mind a few knowing at least. On top of that, she shares a glimpse into her background, schooling, and job here. In this interview, she says that pornography was always something she wanted to do.
So you came in again, and this time, Gil was very slick. He said, so we want to ask you something, but I understand that you can't really leave your register, so I'm gonna give you this website, and you should go to it on your own time. So he wrote down, handed it to me on a piece of paper, and I went to the bathroom and I checked it out. And as soon as I saw what it was, I was like, oh, this would be so cool.
It's very fair to argue that these clips are just from a sleazy interview and she was putting on an act. However, she is truthful about a lot of the personal information here, making it difficult to detect where the line is drawn between fact and fiction. Mia must have felt some sort of connection to this industry because she was such a success at Scoreland that she got the attention of the famous adult company Bang Bros in 2014, and agreed to work with them. After the shift, they decided to update her fake name to Mia Khalifa. She got the idea by using her dog's name Mia and her favorite rapper's name Khalifa. It was there that the young, naive, and vulnerable Mia would become one of the most notorious porn stars for one particular scene that changed her life forever. Based on early interviews from 2014, Mia seemed excited to take part in a new opportunity. Bang Bros was larger, their clothes, hair, and makeup were better quality, and the men around her made her feel special, desired, and beautiful. Everyone likely told her how amazing she was, how much
They had big black cocks.
money she would make, and how she was a natural performer. The industry built her up and made her feel like she could trust them until one day, while in hair and makeup, the producers confirmed that she could speak Arabic, and then explained to her their brilliant idea of her wearing a hijab in an explicit video. In early podcast appearances, Mia talks about the scene, claiming that she didn't know it was going to be bad. But over the next couple of years, she started to add in the details.
Do you like things up your rear? Are you gay? Do you still post on OnlyFans? Are you horny? How many inches is your PP?
I'm not gay. I don't like things at my rear, but I do still post on OnlyFans. If you want to know how many inches my PP is, check out my OnlyFans. Thanks for the donation, Majin Buu.
That she pushed back against the producers, and they just laughed her off.
Very Muslim countries were deeply offended by it, and I'm Catholic. So to me, it wasn't like, oh yeah, this is bad. What I actually said when they proposed the scene to me, and this is verbatim, was you motherfuckers are gonna get me killed.
She's claiming she's Catholic, but she does porn. Does that make a ton of sense to you?
It's difficult to say how much she was coerced versus complicit in this scene, but in messages provided by the—
She was absolutely complicit. You do not need to do anything you don't want to do. There's no coercion. She's a legal adult. She wanted to do it. It's just total bullshit.
Supposed strip club manager Not Dirty Chem, Mia is sitting in the bang bus and holding the script for what appears to be the hijab scene. She says, doing a threesome with my stepmom. I have the actual script, with a laughing face emoji to follow. What I can—
Oh, I was so scared. I didn't want to do it. I was coerced. And then she posts a fucking photo of it in a post. Look what I'm about to do. Right. This adds up, right?
Say for certain is that there is no way the young Mia would have known the impact of doing the scene. After it was released, it skyrocketed to the top of the charts. People were both horrified and intrigued. While it wasn't the first hijab scene in adult entertainment, with there even being another actress in that video, all the focus was pinned on Mia Khalifa. The reason for why it was a big controversy involves the Muslim religion, which is very against pornography. Watching or engaging in porn is considered haram. Seeing someone wear a hijab while disrespecting their religion upset many, especially ISIS sympathizers, a movement that was at its peak relevance at the time. Internet users created images of her being beheaded by ISIS, to which she responded, "Just don't cut off my boobs, they were expensive." These attempts to laugh it off failed miserably, and she was banned from her home country of Lebanon. It's interesting to point out that the community that was hardest on her were the ones that looked up her videos the most.
It was so nice that she has been given the award of Anti-Semite of the Week from Stop Antisemitism. Smile, fuck that piece of shit Nazi cunt. I can't even jack off to her old porn videos knowing about this LMFAO.
Yep. After Instagram removed a fake photo of Khalifa posted of an alleged Israeli soldier pointing a gun at a Palestinian child, she reposted the same photo on Twitter, implying that the removal of her Instagram account was because of Jews in the state of Israel and America. Fucking idiot. Khalifa once again took to social media, posting a photo of herself drinking Nazi-era champagne from 1943 with caption, My wine is older than your apartheid state," in an obvious attempt to delegitimize the Jewish nation. User who accurately commented that Israel is the only country in the Middle East where she wouldn't be stoned to death in the street in reference to her porn career. Khalifa once again demonstrated that her pro-Palestinian activism is just a disguise for anti-Semitism by providing the uneducated reply, "I'll take my chances in Saudi and Syria." What a fucking retard. Mia Khalifa's dangerous vilification of Jews is being endorsed by neo-Nazis and white supremacists. Notorious anti-Semite Andrew Angin published a piece in the Daily Stormer praising Khalifa's attack on Jews and referring to Nazis as pretty cool guys and very respectful and friendly. Yep. Well, that's nice that she's friends with Nazis. Thanks for the donation, Ben.
Only 22 years old, she was the most searched performer on pretty much every adult video website.
No, I've never watched Umbrella Academy.
Her dirty little secret had been exposed, and everyone was shaming or mocking her. To make matters worse, her parents learned about her adult career through CNN, when a journalist called them and asked for comment. Her family very publicly disowned the young woman following this event, which appears to stand to this very day. Mia obviously was devastated. With her secrets revealed, the young woman may have felt like she needed to lean into her choices, feeling that she was past the point of no return. After expressing her fears to Bang Bros, they told her that it would all blow over and that she was lightning in a bottle. To them, she had attracted a whole new audience of viewers, therefore making them a ton of money. They did not want to lose her to another company, so they decided to present her with a long-term contract in 2015.
I think that it should be illegal to force a woman to sign a contract right then and there.
They force you to sign it then and there.
They don't force.
What do you mean? You don't have to sign anything you don't want to, you idiot. Like, what a moron.
But they put it in front of you and say, this is your contract, sign it. Like, they're not holding a gun to my head,
Right.
but it's intimidation in the sense that I'm 21 and there's 4 men around me.
Oh, I'm 21, I'm a legal adult, and they're not using any kind of physical intimidation or coercion, so I felt like I had to sign it. I'm only 21, I'm a legal adult. I went to college, and I'm well educated. Ugh, like, she's so full of shit. My god.
Can we see what Searage has been up to recently? PLS, he posted something about flowers, lol.
Maybe later. He doesn't really do anything these days. Thanks for the donation though, Riley.
You can trust us. Yeah. This is the sentiment that Mia has shown in all interviews covering the contract signing. But Bang Bros has disputed this claim, and showed a video that exhibits Mia's excitement to sign.
I'm on contract with Bang Bros now for 6 months. I'm only shooting with Bang Bros. 1 scene a week. Thank you!
And they're telling us she was flattered at being one of the very few women to actually have gotten a deal in writing. Also, if the receipts are to be...
I was forced to sign it. I didn't want to sign it, but I was forced. Oh, did they use physical intimidation? No. I was only 21 years old. I was only a legal adult, and I'm college educated. And then she goes on to say, I have a contract with Bang Bro. Like, she's just a manipulative liar.
Be believed, she was given the agreement over email and had the opportunity to look it over. This is quite different from her claim that she was seemingly coerced into signing in an office, as a bunch of men loomed over her. Mia went ahead and signed the contract, but after only 2 weeks renegotiated new terms, where she no longer had to film explicit videos, but instead cam girl for live audiences instead.
Like, people still think that I'm doing it when I did it for 3 months, 4 years ago.
Although claiming to have left the industry after only 3 months, this statement is pretty dubious. She had posted naked pics and videos on Reddit, worked at a strip club, and filmed multiple scenes at Scoreland before her 3-month stint shooting with Bang Bros, and even then continued to model and webcam there for at least another year afterwards. While all this was going on, she began her divorce from her husband, Wyatt O'Brien, citing that they had moral and ethical differences. This coincides with her dating a higher-up in the Bang Bros company, who she later alleged had manipulated her into staying because she was trying to foster this new relationship. She felt like this exec dragged the relationship on, only seeing her on the weekends, if that, while she lived in a low-quality apartment filled with cockroaches.
Here we fucking go. She's a legal adult. She claims to be college educated. She's in her 20s. I was manipulated and controlled. You made all your own choices.
Experiencing feelings of depression, Mia said it was her dogs that got her through that difficult time. She just kept on thinking that no one would take care of her animals if she didn't, and needed to keep on going for them at least. Understanding that the industry wasn't making her happy, she eventually tried to go back to a normal life. But that proved difficult. In many of her job interviews, she was recognized. Eventually, she got a gig working as a paralegal, but felt insecure about how often she was noticed, then worked as a bookkeeper at a construction site, which ended up being a failure since so many men kept on making comments. It was at this point that she had her Joker moment. Leaving the cockroaches behind, she moved back to Texas to try and escape the adult industry. She first attempted to redefine herself through sports. Mia is an avid sports fan and got gigs on shows such as Out of Bounds and Sports Ball with commentator Tyler Coe and NBA player Gilbert Arenas. She describes these jobs as a dream come true. However, her hopes were dashed when instead of receiving respect due to her vast sports knowledge, she was instead receiving negative comments and sexual DMs from athletes. In response to these messages, she released them.
Ever heard of, like, blocking your DMs? Like, by the way, the DMs I get to this day, even if I don't upload, like, you know, controversial content, I get death threats, I get people telling me I'm in the N-word, kill myself. Like, you don't have to read any of this. Just, you can block out all your DMs from, like, people you don't know.
Them to the public in order to shame, such as Cubs catcher Wilson Contreras, Ole Miss quarterback Chad Kelly, and former Bills safety Duke Williams. She even claims that Drake slid into her DMs.
Wait.
In response to these...
Your man is wandering around left field. Can you come get him? I'm sure you get this a lot, but I'm a big fan of you. It'd be great just to say hi. Hello, good morning, good afternoon. My friend, hope you're doing good. She's complaining that people are saying, hey, I'm a big fan. I'd love to meet you. Ah, harassment!
These messages, she released them to the public in order to shame, such as...
Bro, imagine if this were a man complaining about this. I can guarantee you people like Drake or basketball players and shit, there are girls going in their DMs saying, oh, hey, saw you were in, like, Miami or something. Do you want to meet up? Imagine if dudes posted this shit and were like, look at the fucking messages I'm getting from women trying to go on a date with me. How the fuck does anybody take this shit seriously?
Cubs catcher Wilson Contreras, Ole Miss quarterback.
Add me on Snap. Better see you at the game. I'm only following you for Seminole Recon to find your weakness before the game. Oh, very funny. What do you think of the show? Weakness 1. Can't resist urges to slide into DMs. Like, she's upset that men want to date her? As if this is an entitled, spoiled fucking child. Why the fuck does anybody bring her on to do these fucking interviews where she lies about her life experience in the porn industry? Men just want to, like, go on dates with her and try to strike up friendly conversations, and then she's like, I'm getting harassed in my DMs. Like, fuck you. Jumpy Carrot donated $2.99. Hey VG, no offense, but why do you rarely talk about climate change and animal agriculture impact on it? Because I don't know much about it. When you talk about environmental side of veganism, it's often about land, water use or pollution, not often greenhouse gas, deforestation, global warming. I just don't talk about it as much because I don't know as much about it. Thanks for the donation, Jumpy Carrot.
Back at Chad Kelly, and former Bills safety Duke Williams. She even claims that Drake slid into her DMs, but didn't provide proof, although I don't doubt it. To make matters worse, Mia's sports trash talk often resulted in her X-rated past being continuously brought up. For example, she tweeted an image of players on the 76ers, captioned it, a room full of L's. NBA player Joel Embiid, who was in the image, did not take kindly to this dig, and responded back, says the woman with miles of D. Drama was not just delegated to the internet though. People
If you're gonna sling mud, people are gonna sling mud back.
Recognized her constantly and felt entitled to walk up and touch her inappropriately. In 2017, it all became too much for Mia as an article was released reporting that she had physically hit one of her fans for trying to take a photo. She never denied the incident and instead responded, if you yell
Bro, you're a public figure.
Raining profanities at me for half a mile, then jump in my personal space uninvited, I will defend myself. The man she punched, Jared, spoke openly saying that other people were taking pictures and yet she only attacked him. Often she has stated how people do not see her as a human being and feel that they have the ability to say whatever they want to her. In another instance, she
This is, to be fair, something a lot of porn stars and ex-porn stars deal with. Like, that's bullshit, but all this crap she's complaining about with people, like, messaging her, are you kidding me?
Was out at a restaurant when a man and his girlfriend came up and asked for a picture. When she turned them down, the woman responded with,
I told you that wasn't her. There's not enough on her face. Let's go, babe. And I went into the bathroom and cried.
Despite the negative hate in person, her career shifted focus to platforms such as TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter. But as we all know, existing as a content creator opens yourself up to people targeting you. In Mia's case, this would end up being in the bizarre form of a viral diss track by I Love Friday in 2018. This music group, consisting of rappers Smoke Hijabi and Zeno Kara, made the track Mia Khalifa in response to a tweet, where Mia allegedly called the female rapper disrespectful for wearing a hijab while smoking. While the song wasn't particularly good, it is notable for being one of the earliest examples of a musical soundbite going viral on the platform TikTok.
You got a boyfriend, I bet he doesn't kiss ya.
This has led to the tune becoming known as hit or miss by most, with the phrase now included in the title of the music.
Based Grandma donated $2.
Explain to me what this is.
Oh, that's my urn.
That's your urn?
Yeah, that's my urn. I wanted to make sure
she keeps it
that I spent eternity or something that I liked.
Yeah.
So I bought my own urn.
It's got palm trees.
And I'm proud of it. And I keep it in the kitchen. I don't want the kids to forget that I belong in here.
And you drink your coffee in the morning and stare at that thing?
Oh, yeah, because I yearn for the urn.
Oh, yeah. This is the weirdest place.
You yearn?
Well,
she yearns for her urn.
I'm 85, pushing 86 hard. I can't see. I can't hear. I can't walk. I can't do anything. So the urn sounds like a good alternative.
Well, it's beautiful.
It is. It is, and I picked it out and it's mine.
That's why you gotta keep lifting. Thanks for the donation, Based Grandma.
Music video that sits at 142 million views. The hook was no doubt catchy and launched the singers into the spotlight for 15 minutes of fame. This diss track also coincides with Mia yet again becoming the most searched for adult star in the country, despite not having shot a video since 2015. With their target staying quiet on the matter as Hit or Miss received billions of listens, the diss track creators claim that Mia should have been thanking them for getting her attention and that they wanted to talk.
What did she feel that you were being disrespectful about?
Because I smoked in my hijab, which it's like, yeah, you shouldn't do that, but it's like what I did was not nearly as bad as what you did. It's like, I mean, if anything, it's helping her. It's getting her like more publicity.
Yeah, we're all about helping people.
You're welcome.
But if you're watching this, Mia Khalifa, look, we will help you out in any way, shape, or form.
The thing that most people didn't realize at the time, though, is that this feud was nothing more than a hoax perpetrated by the D-list musicians. They faked the tweets. Khalifa never spoke of them, let alone knew who they were. They merely wanted to gain the internet's attention, and while the message was bogus, the negative attention was real, and Mia expressed her pain in an interview by saying,
How do you feel about the diss track named after you, literally called Mia Khalifa, that has gone so
Elias donated $2. You are only famous for your body, and then you wonder why men objectify you and don't take you seriously after your porn career. Lol. Like porn. Lol. Check this out. Well, it's not just that. Like, regardless of what you do, porn, basketball, football, lawyer, people shouldn't harass you in public. And I mean, there's no, like, there's objectification in any kind of job you do. If you're a basketball player, the only reason people like you is because of your body, because of what you can do with your body. Like, what's the difference between that and porn? It's not really any difference. It's all objectification. Your body is just being used as a means to an end. In porn, it's just for sexual gratification. In sports, it's to, like, score a goal. It's all objectification in the end. It's stupid to harass people based on any job they've done, unless it's like, I don't know, something horrible and illegal, like if you were doing crime or something. But yeah, Steven Seagal. That's actually how you pronounce his name, Seagal. He claimed you pronounce it Seagal because it sounds cooler, but you actually pronounce it Steven Seagal. Thanks for the donation, Elias.
Insanely viral thanks to the TikTok, which is purportedly the most viral TikTok in the entire Western world.
I'm gonna be honest with you, because I'm a gangster, and I don't really say this too often, but it kind of hurt me a little bit.
It's clear that these two used Khalifa's name for clout, having absolutely no regard for her as a real human, an ongoing theme in the story. Despite the setback, Mia was determined to move on to a new chapter of her life. Around the same time Hit or Miss came out in 2018, Mia had just started to find love with Swedish chef Robert Sandberg. After many years of being suspicious of men, since they all seemed to either objectify or be embarrassed to be seen with her, Robert made the ex-adult film actress feel safe and loved. He had not seen her X-rated videos and did not know who she was, so it was refreshing to meet a person who knew her based on personality rather than her past. Mia has said that once she knows someone has seen her videos,
she's a terrible shit person with a terrible personality. This guy probably has fucking problems of his own. I'm pretty sure they ended up getting divorced, right? Didn't they?
She doesn't want to be around them anymore. He did find out eventually through a friend, but this did not deter him. Mia went abroad to visit the suitor, and the pair soon moved to LA to be together. They created a YouTube channel called Robert and Mia, where they posted travel vlogs and Q&As for their future children. The two tied the knot privately at their home during the early days of the pandemic. Unfortunately, 2020 was a difficult year for many, and Mia was no exception.
Elias donated $2. There's a big difference, dumbass. For basketball, you actually need to have skills. Every bitch around the corner can do porn. Well, for one thing, that's not true. Secondly, most NBA players aren't amazing because they worked harder than anybody else. They are just better. So, no. NBA basketball players are taller, stronger, have better nervous system efficiency. They have better motor recruitment, better motor learning, faster reaction time. That's without any kind of training. And you can look at how some of these people train and eat. The only training that they'll do is training that they're like forced to do. They'll be forced to go to certain practices to stay on the team and shit. And they eat like crap. There was like a fucking basketball player who was jacked and shredded, and he ate fucking candy all day. So it's not any more admirable that somebody is good at sports. They're just physically better than a normal fucking person. Same with like porn stars. They just look better than normal people, and they perform on camera better than normal people. Thanks for the donation though, Elias.
Besides COVID, she and Robert began to have a lot of problems. In an interview, she admitted that they were in couples therapy and trying to find ways to bolster each other. Despite the counseling, the pair separated shortly thereafter and then announced their divorce a year later, officially ending her second marriage. They have both kept private on the matter, never saying the exact reason for the split.
They split up because they're both shitty people and they're shitty to each other. The only kind of dude who would end up dating Mia would be the kind of dude who is a lying, manipulative jackass who also attracts lying, manipulative jackasses.
Though I have a feeling that a dispute with her former employer during this era caused a lot of the strain. By 2020, Bang Bros had had enough of Mia accusing them of coercion and mistreatment. What made them full-on litigious was when she released a tweet claiming that she had only made over $12,000 for all her work in the industry. Her comments received so much media attention that many began to turn against the X-rated industry and protested that Mia get more compensation. On Change.org, Mia Khalifa supporters pushed those to sign a petition in order for Bang Bros to pay Mia for emotional damages and to remove her name and videos from the domain. Despite being a pretty meaningless display, the page currently sits at close to 2 million users backing the model up. This pushed
simps and white knights,
the adult media conglomerate, to create an entire website formatted like a negative political ad called factsbeatfiction.com, where they disputed her accusations with evidence. They felt that interviewers and journalists were not fact-checking her claims.
What is your problem?
But a mere attention whore, a cacophony of madness breaking down my door, is trying to find understanding, but all I find is holds upon the feelings I feel upon the world. Nothing is more greater than the hell I behold. Once again I lose community, once again lose sense of self. I feel the hand gripping and pulling me deeper into hell. I look into the mirror at the damage upon my teeth, upon my face, and all I have to wonder is how did I become such a disgrace? I am but nothing but a mere attention whore.
Well, thank you for that, Hollow Good. Appreciate the donation.
claims, and taking every statement she made at face value. They even provide a promotional clip of hers to point out how her narrative shifted over time. In a statement, Bang Bros said, "Although Mia makes many false statements, innuendos, and accusations, we have tried to stay silent and allow Mia to have her publicity stunt without responding. Mia has taken our silence as an all clear to not only continue but ramp up her false statements. We therefore have no choice but to respond." The website refuted her claim of only making $12,000 for adult film work, showing receipts of her making $178,000 with just them, not to include what she made from working at Scoreland prior.
Yeah. There's no way. So she's just a liar.
Also alleged that Mia was in the industry for 2 years and 9 months, and that they paid for her health care and other benefits until 2017. They even listed every single video Mia had ever been in. While she stated that she only ever recorded 11 videos, the company was able to show that that was untrue as well, counting a total of 28. They then provide a cease and desist, demanding that she stop immediately.
Vegan Moose donated $2. Notice something very interesting between these two vegans, lol. Does David know how to tame animals now?
On the channel, I'm here in real life with a guy I only ever met online, Mr. Daniel Ishay, or Lifting Vegan Logic.
Ishai, but
Ishai.
I say Ishay because it's easier for people.
Right.
To, you know.
So, dude, awesome to actually
oh my God.
meet you in person and to do this together and hang out a little bit, make some videos, make some content.
How did they get the squirrel here?
Actually, only have one question for you today. That's the question we're going to discuss for today's live stream, I almost said, but it's not.
Right. Dude, I wouldn't be able to talk. I'd just be focusing on the squirrel.
It's a real life video. Feels kind of
like
weird.
a live stream because we're in person. But,
right, exactly. Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah.
Question is, Danny, why do you make videos about veganism and animal rights?
Yeah. Well, I think it's one of the most important causes to make videos about. I think that the scale of oppression that animals go through is just like unlike any other means of oppression I see in the world. You know, we kill animals at a rate that surpasses any sort of past or present human atrocity or
oh my
whatever.
God.
And, I think it's weird that a lot of people don't take it seriously. It's literally like the most oppressed group is taking the
Why
least
is
serious.
that squirrel there,
Yeah,
dude?
I think that's pretty much why. I mean, I try to think of how I can best spend my time day to day in terms of like having a positive impact, and that's how I would think about it if I were to give a surface level answer.
So one of the things that people go on about when you say that the most oppressed group, and this is, I think there's a huge education gap here that we have to fight against. So I'm going to ask you a follow-up question to this. Why, obviously animals are at the highest, they're abused and killed and all mutilated and all these things at the highest scale of any animal on the planet. Humans obviously included, we are animals, by the way, if you didn't know. But why is it important when it comes to non-human animals? Because obviously we all know why it's important not to do these things to humans, but why do you care so much about non-human animals?
I can put very simply, they're sentient beings. They have a subjective experience, and I think that in the same way with humans, that we want humans to flourish, feel well-being, and avoid suffering. I have the same position toward non-human animals. If animals were not sentient or they're like a rock, I probably wouldn't really care what happens to them. Also,
how do we know they're not rocks? Because I'm being plain devil's advocate here, but I think like literally we need to go back that far. Someone watching this will just be saying, well, animals, they don't think they're like computers. They just, you know. How do we know that's not the case?
Yeah, I mean, we can't probably don't have time to get into a whole like neuroanatomy lecture here, but when it comes to inferring whether another being is sentient, you know, you have to get a little bit into like philosophy and like look into what our structures are like in our brain and see like what behaviors they exhibit, how much they match beings that we presumably believe have sentience, like human beings. Look at our like brains and whatnot. And from what I've seen, the research on sentience or whatever, or how we can infer consciousness in other beings, always comes back to the brain having an area to where like where pain and all this can be experienced. There's even people with phantom limb syndrome, where they feel pain in a limb that they actually don't even have anymore. And this kind of went against the theory of like nociceptors being required to feel, because there's nothing here, but they're still feeling. So the brain is a big thing for me in terms of one of the big pieces of why I believe that animals feel, on top of all the other stuff like the behavioral evidence and whatnot. But we can't get too into it, but it's like, I mean.
Well, the reason you feel phantom pain isn't due to it's complicated, but the brain is sending signals to nerves and shit that it expects to be there, and it's not getting those signals back, and then you get a weird interpretation of pain sometimes. Phantom pain can be a lot of different things. It can feel like itching. It can feel like shaking or vibrating. Sometimes it can be really pleasurable.
You kick a cat. I've never kicked a cat, obviously, but you see what happens when an animal...
Hypothetically.
Hypothetically.
If you were to kick a cat.
Yeah,
right,
for sure. I never kicked a cat.
Yeah.
You know, there's a... It seems blatantly obvious, but of course when you get into actual neuropsychology of it all.
Animal, but people draw a distinction, and I think that distinction comes down to, well, a dog is more of a person than a cow in people's minds. But the reality is that they're both people. There's a person inside every single cow.
Well, thanks for the donation, Vegan Moose.
In response, Mia branded everything that Bang Bros said a smear campaign, and that she is a victim of the porn industry and wants to protect other girls from making the same mistakes she did. She specifically warns against the in perpetuity clause usually put in women's contracts. This means that these adult companies own Mia's videos forever. In her opinion, no one should have that much control over a—
This is fucking retarded. So, does Mia Khalifa think, like, all these actors in Hollywood should own the rights to the movies they're in? Like, should, what are their fucking names? Who's the guy who played Wolverine? Should he own the rights to every fucking Marvel movie he's ever been in? It's just retarded. This is how it works. You signed a contract where you don't own ownership of the license. They're the ones who own the license. You're a fucking idiot.
A young woman's life, and the industry purposely tricks vulnerable women into signing so that they can make money off of them indefinitely. From what I can tell, Mia has never actually responded to the damning receipts showing the money she made, the amount of scenes she filmed, and the overall time she spent as an adult entertainer. The best she could respond with was that they used corrupt footage, though I'm not sure what that means, and to this day no journalist or interviewer has pushed her on these allegations. Though they never did sue their former model, Bang Bros would end on the point that if Mia wanted to get out of the industry and for people to stop looking at her videos, she needs to stop talking about her career in porn. They released a chart that mentions every moment Mia was mentioned in the news to signify the free press she's received. And it's honestly quite impressive how many random headlines she has found herself in. It's difficult to find a through line in Mia's story, but I think one thing that still needs to be pointed out is that she has had a bizarre life over the past decade that has made her a magnet for outlets to report on. So I just wanted to take a moment to run down some of the most interesting of these headlines. In 2018, Mia was attending a hockey game when a 6-ounce puck slammed into her chest, rupturing her breast implant. Many felt that this was a fake publicity stunt. However, it is actually true. She had to go under the knife again to fix the implant that had deflated. She claims that her boob saved her life. In 2020, she underwent a nose job that, quote, saved her life as well. Her reasoning for oversharing was to remind women that she had work done, and feels it's important to be open about plastic surgery. To go along with this point, Mia once took to TikTok to call out the 21-year-old singer Madison Beer for allegedly hiding her plastic surgery. Mia Khalifa had absolutely no proof for accusations of the artist having work done. Giving Philly D some props, in an interview he confronted Mia about her harsh statements, and she would publicly make a retraction on the spot. In 2022, Mia, who had been independently selling lewd content for 2 years behind a subscription, said in an interview
Mia Khalifa defends sex workers. Being in the army is worse because you're selling your body to the government.
That, quote, honestly, I think that selling your body, like if you're going to that definition, being in the military is worse than being on OnlyFans. You're selling your body to the government. This was just another blurb that made its rounds in tabloids before fading into obscurity. But in another year, she would make headlines again, this time for opinions that would truly wreak havoc on her career. As we can tell by this point, Mia is used to landing herself in controversy with hot takes.
Yeah,
but
here's
by
the
far,
anti-Semitism.
the worst repercussions she's experienced was immediately after Hamas attacked Israel in 2023. Following the invasion, murders, and kidnappings, she tweeted, "Can someone tell the Palestinian fighters to flip their phones and film horizontal?" implying that she wanted a better view of the atrocities. No matter how you feel about the conflict, a comment like this was obviously going to spur massive backlash. She didn't just get mean comments this time though, but was dropped by Playboy and fired from an Amsterdam drug-based company. She attempted to clean up the brash statement by saying, "I just want to make it clear that this statement in no way, shape, or form is inciting the spread of violence. I specifically said freedom fighters because that's what the Palestinian citizens are."
Right. So she says, "Man, I wish I could see more Jews being killed. Oh, I wasn't trying to incite violence." Dumb, lying bitch facing consequences for her actions. What a surprise. Vegan runner donated $2. My mom caught me sucking dick. I didn't stop because it felt so good and I swallowed. She said I might get kicked out. What should I do? Maybe just make sure your mom isn't home when you're sucking dick. Thanks for the donation, Vegan runner.
I fucked your mom.
Well, unless you're black, I highly doubt that. Thanks for the donation, Cat Daddy.
Fighting for freedom every day. After being dropped, she doubled down stating, "I'd say supporting Palestine has lost me business opportunities, but I'm more angry at myself for not checking whether or not..."
No, being a Nazi anti-Semite made you lose business opportunities.
"I was entering into business with Zionists. My bad." And that's where this story ended for most of the internet. But I honestly don't think we should have been surprised at what she said here. This is because I stumbled upon an almost never talked about detail of her past, a supposed alt Twitter account from a decade ago. While most claim that this account was her,
The 90s were wild.
And there's like the brunette, and then this one is for the blondes.
So there's a good, and it's a pretty good size. Like you can like.
This one is for the blondes. I like it. And then it just wraps up in your.
My heavens! Put that away. Oh my
heavens! Put it in the bowl and let's keep moving.
All right, I'm buying you Starbucks. You win.
And
Well, you know, we were just looking at it and it just
you were
looked
trying to
funny.
shock me. And it worked! It worked! Yes, it goes like this
Yes.
into your hair and makes a bun.
Yes.
But otherwise, oh, for
That's pretty good. Thanks for the donation, Batmans.
Because its handle was her birth name followed by the year she was born, and seemed to discuss similar interests as Mia, I'd still deem that as conjecture. So I cross-referenced the archives for more definitive proof, leading to this account referring to her husband as Kem the Thriller, similar to the spicy Reddit accounts. If that wasn't damning enough, there is also a Reddit account under this name that includes a picture of O'Brien and Mia's dog. So it seems very likely that the
This
couple
is
were
her.
also active on these now deleted Twitter accounts. And believe me, there's a reason Mia wanted them scrubbed. Well, there's
Dark skin in gas always be turnt. The fuck?
Twitter accounts. And believe me, there's a reason Mia wanted them scrubbed. Well, there's some interesting tidbits here. I want to focus on some of the comments made regarding the nation of Israel, along with its Jewish inhabitants. In tweets dating back to 2014, Sarah Jo said, "Israeli propaganda is disgusting. I hope Hamas targets schools and kills some of their children. Save the world from future
So see what I mean? She wants to exterminate all the Jews. Like, she's saying, I want Jewish children to be murdered.
Zionist scum." But that's not all. In another tweet she wrote, "I've never been more disgusted by a race of human beings as I am in Israelis. They are literally the scum of the earth." I think it's fair to
So she wants to eradicate all Jews.
say that these views go well past just wanting a ceasefire in the Middle East.
Yeah. Beerus Donny Tillers, can someone technically be vegan if they hate being around animals? I know it's weird, but I met a vegan guy today who said animals shouldn't be in society with humans, but then said he's vegan because he believes at the same time they shouldn't be used either. I don't know what he meant by that exactly, but yes, you can not like animals and be vegan. Thanks for the donation, Beerus. Son Goku Donate Tillers, when skinny guys say they have a fast metabolism, so it's hard for them to gain weight, is it possible that it's just they have small appetites, don't know it? Well, that's usually what it is. There's very little difference in BMR between individuals. It's usually only as much as 200 calories. So it's usually the case that they just eat less. Thanks for the donation, Son Goku.
To make matters worse, on Philip DeFranco's podcast, the history enthusiast did not want to reveal her favorite moment in history, leading to an interesting response.
Yeah. Is that your like favorite thing in history?
No, not so. Well, I'm not going to get World War II.
Huge fan. Mia Khalifa, huge fan of World War II.
Besides her comments towards
Well, you can make assumptions on what she meant by that.
Palestine, Mia has stayed fairly low-key in the public eye recently. The only other clip of hers that has gone viral is one of her reflecting on her life since she is now in her 30s, including the detail that she had been engaged a third time, but it fell through.
Married at 18, divorced at 21. Second marriage, married at 25, divorced at 28. Third engagement, engaged at 29, ended it at 30, but I kept the ring. I'm still keeping Tom Brady on his toes. We should not be afraid to leave these men. We are not stuck with these people. Marriage
You want to bet these men are leaving her?
is not a sanctimonious thing.
As you can imagine, droves of conservatives were quick to mock Mia for her flippant attitude towards marriage, and the concept that anyone should take advice from her on said subjects. But for me, I'm just left feeling bad. Even if you put some of the blame on her for choosing them, it is a fact that Mia has had many bad experiences with men. Life warps a human's perception, and constantly being objectified as a teen, along with a rabbit hole down the sexual taboo, has clearly made relationships difficult for the influencer. As of 2024, Mia is dating Jaco, a Puerto Rican singer, songwriter, and record producer. Along with this, she's launched
I wonder if he knows she wants to eradicate the Jewish race.
a body jewelry brand titled under the Arabic word for Satan. At this point, the only thing she can sell is the edginess, so the jewelry category plus the devil lines up pretty well for her, even if it's a bit too on the nose. At the end of the day, I'm left amazed at how warped the public's view of Mia Khalifa is. The narrative of a naive girl working at a fast food restaurant getting wrapped up in adult content for a few months before it changes her life forever is a compelling narrative, but also a very erroneous one. The slow progression of a teen at a military academy getting attention from an older man, then getting married at 18, playing into his fetishes of a one-way open relationship, before starting to post pictures online and working at a strip club, then getting into paid explicit content for 2 different companies over dozens of scenes, paints a much more well-rounded picture of the situation that I have never seen anyone else point out before. In conclusion, most either take Mia's story at face value or just dismiss it from the get-go, but I think the truth is more gray than that. She deserves sympathy as she was pushed down this path, but also needs—
She deserves no sympathy. She's an anti-Semite who wants to eradicate Jews, and she's a manipulative fucking liar. She's probably a narcissist. Beerus donated $2. Yeah, he said he hates the way how dogs and cats smell and that it's cringe when people have them as pets, and that he then said all animals need to keep to themselves in the wild and left alone without interference. At least he's against exploitation. Whatever, as long as he's not in favor of violating animal rights. Thanks for the donation, Beerus.
Mia is the type of person who thinks her life is more precious than anything in the world. It must be a bitter pill to swallow when these people come to the realization that their existence is a blink of an eye. A grain of sand in the desert.
I don't know. Thanks for the donation, Majin Buu. Hollow God, or Hollow Good donated 222. You're gay like me now.
I can't sleep. I can't eat. I can't win a single chess game. I always get beat. Life is a cruel mistress. Never my friend. I'm always wondering,
I hear a cat.
will I ever win again? Hear the screams of the ones long gone past, yelling at me that I'll never make a dream last. They all wanted suffering, and so here I suffer more.
Okay, well, thank you for that, Hollow
To
Good.
take some responsibility for stoking the flames. Because at the end of the day, despite all her hatred of the porn industry, she continues to use the name they bestowed upon her.
Even though I don't I don't really feel bad for her. I mean, she made porn, got a diss track made on her, whatever.
Quiet on the matter, as Hit or Miss received billions of listens, the diss track creators claim that Mia should have been thanking them for getting their attention and that they wanted to talk.
What did she feel that you were being disrespectful about?
Because I smoked in my hijab, which it's like, yeah, you shouldn't do that, but it's like...
You smoked in your hijab, but she was doing other stuff in her hijab.
Like what I did was not nearly as bad as what you did. It's like, I mean, if anything, it's helping her. It's getting her like more publicity.
Yeah, and we're all about helping
it's like,
people.
You're welcome.
But if
we're all
you're
about helping
watching this
people.
Khalifa, look, we will help you out in any way, shape, or form.
The thing that most people didn't realize at the time...
I wonder how much money they made off of that diss track. I wonder if they made some serious cash. Your opinion on her is going to change radically when you get to the end? Okay.
Though, is that this feud was nothing more than a hoax perpetrated by the D-list musicians. They faked the tweets. Khalifa never spoke of them, let alone knew who they were. They merely wanted to gain the internet's attention, and while the message was bogus, the negative attention was real, and Mia expressed her pain in an interview by saying,
It's not surprising that they faked that at all.
How do you feel about...
Because who the fuck will be dissing I Love Friday? You don't even know who they are. How would she know who they are? Who would? I don't even know the name of them, and they have a song with 700 million plays on YouTube. You know?
The diss track named after you, literally called Mia Khalifa, that has gone so insanely viral thanks to the TikTok, which is purportedly the most viral TikTok in the entire Western world.
I'm gonna be honest with you, because I'm a gangster, and I don't really say this too often, but it kind of hurt me a little bit.
It's clear that these two used Khalifa's name for clout, having absolutely no regard for her as a real human, an ongoing theme in the story. Despite the setback, Mia was determined to move on to a new chapter of her life. Around the same time Hit or Miss came out in 2018, Mia had just started to find love with Swedish chef Robert Sandberg. After many years of being suspicious of men, since they all seemed to either objectify or be embarrassed to be seen with her, Robert made the ex-adult film actress feel safe and loved. He had not seen her X-rated videos and did not know who she was. So it was refreshing to meet a person who knew her based on personality rather than her past. Mia has said that once she knows someone has seen her videos, she doesn't want to be around them anymore. He did find out eventually through a friend, but this did not deter him. Mia went abroad to visit the suitor, and the pair soon moved to LA to be together. They created a YouTube channel called Robert and Mia.
Moving to Los Angeles. Bad move.
Where they
Not
posted
good.
travel vlogs
Where dreams go to die.
and Q&As for their future children. The two tied the knot privately at their home during the early days of the pandemic. Unfortunately, 2020 was a difficult year for many, and Mia was no exception. Besides COVID, she and Robert began to have a lot of problems. In an interview, she admitted that they were in couples therapy and trying to find ways to bolster each other. Despite the counseling, the pair separated shortly thereafter and then announced their divorce a year later, officially ending her second marriage. They have both kept private on the matter, never saying the exact reason for the split. Though I have a feeling that a dispute with her former employer during this era caused a lot of the strain.
Possibly. I mean, it is like, you know, I'm not saying someone like Mia Khalifa, who's done porn at one time and then stopped doing it, should like never be deserving of love again. I feel like that'd be a very hateful thing to say. You know, I don't think someone's past should be held against them forever.
Oh, she's not deserving of love, and it's not because she did porn.
And then after that, you want to stop and you want to like get married to like a normal dude and you want to be like a monogamous, you know, non-degenerate relationship. You're going to have a really hard time finding a dude who isn't insecure in any way about that, right? Like, because, you know, every guy knows that, you know, some girls will have a past, some will have more of a past than others, you know. Some girls have a body count of 3, some have a body count of 30, okay? And, you know, I say generally the lower that body count is, the less insecure that guy is going to feel. Because obviously you don't want to feel like the girl you're, you know, marrying, who you're like in a one holy matrimony with, has been giving up that, you know, super sacred part of herself, being like sex and her sexuality in her naked form, to a ton of other guys for cheap. And now you're like the guy who she's, you know, with and settling down with, right? You don't want to feel like that. But it becomes particularly hard to ignore something like that when the girl you're talking to / thinking about being with has done porn, and that anyone can instantly look up.
Cute gains and retailers for you. Let me see. Oh my god. Oh my god. So round and chunky.